Hello and welcome to episode 113 of the MisanthroPod. I'm Snipe, and as always I'm joined by Wib again! As much as we love Longfang, but Wib is here. He's alive.
Hello, I'm alive.
We love him. And I am also joined by Le Drumble Bumble. Say hello.
Hello. I had a minor existential crisis there when you paused for slightly too long after the first one. I thought I'd just blanked the last 112 episodes and it was like, wait, this is the first one? What?
You've been in a coma for 17 years, Matt. We're trying to reach you.
113 episodes, and actually it's the first time we've ever done it.
Yeah, all these other ones we've just been pretending to do them so we could get us all up to speed.
Yeah, no, we haven't actually been uploading them. We just recorded 112 previously as a joke at you, Matt. We've just been wasting your time on
April Fools in the middle of fucking November.
Just a gargantuan joke.
That is amazing.
Can you fucking imagine? Anyway, apart from that, also I had to say 113 because I keep varying between, say, 112 or 112. So I'm like, fuck it, 113.
You just want to make it as inconsistent as possible.
That's kind of my vibe until I find something that interests me, I don't know, a shiny button or something.
Okay, I would just like to quickly say before we get into the podcast proper, a big thank you to Longfang for filling in for me last episode at no notice, basically.
Yeah, he is a hero, and we all love him very much.
So thank you very much to him for doing that, and thank you to everyone who sent me well wishes because I was having a bit of a depressive dip that week, and I really needed the time off, and taking the time off made me feel a lot better. Yep. So
and also we explicitly on the last podcast, asked everyone to send you cute pictures of corgis and stuff.
Ooh, yes. I was going to get to this on the questions. But I will send it you now.
Oh,
this is a live reaction.
A live reaction.
Live reaction to a cute dog.
Oh, we're going to be
or it's going to be someone with there's going to be a corgi tattoo around someone's butthole.
I had to scroll down. This is from Mikhail. I've sent it to your phones.
Okay, I will look at phones. Okay, so I need to describe this.
Give us a play-by-play of what you're seeing.
Those are some old... some of the old Gretchen gun crew models from 2nd edition.
They definitely are.
Photoshopped to have corgi faces on them.
Yeah, but what are their what are they called collectively?
Corgrots. Who was that sent that?
Mikhail.
Oh, thank you, Mikhail. Thank you very much.
Mikhail, that's amazing.
Thank you very much for that. That is beautiful. Thank you. that is definitely a thing that I've seen now with my own eyeballs.
Are you grateful?
I'm very grateful.
Good.
There was lots of other well wishes as well, but that was the only one that had the main one that had that picture.
It'd be weird if multiple people sent the same image.
Well, we did ask for grots and corgis, so that was the most efficient way of doing it, I guess.
So, should we get back into it?
We should get back into it, yes.
Drumbly Bambly. I'm really having fun saying your name like that.
Yes.
What have you been up to, dear?
I have watched a few TV series.
Have they been sexy TV series?
Yes.
Ooh, okay.
But only to some people. Probably not the first one.
Most TV series are going to be sexy to someone. I'm sure there's someone cranking one out to the trapdoor.
Don't you open that trap? Oh!
Yeah, you have to
There's something sexy down there.
Oh, you can open this trapdoor, Burke. I regret everything.
Oh, and then if you do time it really well with that, then the sort of the tail off, the sort of doo it sort of makes you just feel.
Can you imagine?
Coincide with how sad you feel that you've just jacked off the trapdoor.
Okay, so what part of Trapdoor are you jacking off to? Are you jacking off to Burke, who's got a lovely Yorkshire accent?
You and regional accents, Jesus fucking.
Or the spider, which I would say you're a fucking weirdo if you whack it to the spider.
It's definitely the spider. I can't remember the spider's name.
I think it's like spider.
It's not.
You don't know that? Okay, or you're whacking off to the bones, which I like. Honestly, I love the skull. He's super cool. He's like my favorite character because he's a skull. Or the thing upstairs. You're like, ooh, dom me thing upstairs.
Yeah, it depends on how much you feel like being commanded.
I don't. I absolutely do not like that. You can literally tell me to do something like, hey, go and buy yourself something really expensive, and I will absolutely fucking literally not do it because someone's told me to.
Yeah, that is actually true. You do have a contrarian streak.
I am so against authority to my own detriment.
Yes.
So I want to dom the thing upstairs, not Jeff. He fucking wishes I'd step on him.
I feel that we should probably move on from our psychosexual fantasies about the old children's television show, The Trapdoor.
Yeah, this is the last thing. Or are you whacking it to the trapdoor?
Ooh, the trapdoor itself.
There's something down there. Is it like...
It's my penis.
Yeah, but no. What's in there? Is it like a, oh, you stick your wee-wee in it or whatever, or you hang your butt over it, and then, like, is it like just random stuff goes and just puts itself either inside your body or around parts of your body?
Again, I feel like this is a trapdoor of content that we should have kept very closed.
No, I think
I'm
the
already
fandom
regretting.
needs answers. Okay, write in. Who from the trapdoor would you fuck? Like serious. Not even a fuck, marry, kill. Just who are you going to have sex with in Trapdoor, the old claymation?
And if the answer is all of them, what is your first pick?
Yeah, which is your first pick? And, also, if you feel comfortable going into it, or if you just want to tell us, feel free to include, a kink. I feel Burke would probably be into piss.
I think that letting the pair of you do a podcast without me has kind of set a precedent that there is no rails. And
are you kidding? We actually finished under 2 hours. We didn't get too derailed. I mean, I think... Yeah, probably not. Yeah. So, and then it was literally I kind of sat there going, this is the part where I'd usually go bananas, but and then Wib would be like, no, don't do that because I'm Mr. Serious Face.
Are you saying that I'm the disruptive? That
yes.
I am the disruptive element?
You were, because it was actually very smooth.
Is this thing again where because I'm here telling you not to do things, you have to not do, you have to do them?
Holy shit, maybe.
That's it.
I don't know, maybe.
Okay.
But also, if I know you're doing that to try and stop me from doing it, I won't do it.
Okay.
But then you will see in my eyes a painful internal struggle.
Yeah. So Matthew, can you talk about the things you were going to talk about, and so we can get off the subject of
sexualizing Trapdoor?
Yeah.
Because there's something down
maybe we can move on to sexualizing the magic roundabout later, but the
magic roundabout. What are you, some kind of fucking creep? Ugh. That's with what was it? Germantrude something? Charmintrude. That's fucking stupid. It's like the magic. What?
Dougal.
Dougal's pretty great.
Who the fuck is Dougal?
It's the dog.
Dougal the dog. Dougal the dog.
Yeah.
And then there's... I wanted to say Skagpuss, but that's the junkie version.
Yeah, no, Bagpuss is a different thing entirely.
I thought Bagpuss was part of the magic roundabout.
No,
there's a springy thing. I forgot what that's called.
Zippy.
Oh, yeah.
No, is Zippy in the magic roundabout?
No. Okay, I think we're confusing each other at this point.
No, I'm not confused.
Matthew, talk about the TV shows you've been watching.
Okay.
I don't want to...
first off, I'm going to brush over this one because I'm not allowed to talk about it on the podcast. There's a new series of Bake Off we've been watching. So... It's not finished yet. We've just finished the semi-final. There's one episode left. It's getting as tense as, Bake Off gets, which is not that tense.
Who would you fuck in Bake Off?
Noel Fielding. Totally.
Noel Fielding's in it?
He is now. For the last few series.
I love it how, from the Mighty Boosh, there's Noel Fielding and Noel Gallagher. Who's the other guy? It's not Noel Gallagher.
Oh, shit.
Matt, shut up.
I've completely forgotten
Noel
his name.
Fielding and
Other one.
Flynn Hannigan.
No,
they're literally.
I will remember it. Julian Barrett.
Yeah,
Julian Barrett. There we go.
Who is really good in a as a serious actor as well. He's in a dark comedy called Flowers. It was like a Channel 4 black comedy thing, and it's trigger warnings. It's the very first thing he does in the very first episode is try to commit suicide.
Oh, okay.
And then they base a comedy around that, and it's like
that is a very British dark comedy.
It's great, and he's brilliant in it. Like as a relatively serious role. But anyway, sorry. What was your point on that?
I was going to say that Noel Fielding and Julian Barrett are basically in real life they are the opposite characters that they are in the Mighty Boosh.
Yeah, that's actually something they said, like, around making the Mighty Boosh.
Well, I'm glad that I'm finally confirming it.
That when they started, when they started, they were sort of broadly based on themselves, but over time they just became each other.
Yeah. Also, Noel Gallagher.
Noel Fielding.
Gallagher. He's got a stupid haircut that makes it look like he's wearing a helmet.
He does, but in the first few series of Bake Off where he came on, he had a different. It was like one year he had like a sort of troubadour-y tight. It was very weird, and it was freaked everyone out. And then he went back to normal.
Yeah. What's really funny is every time I see him, I think of Wibb's cousin.
Which one? Oh, actually, yeah, no, I know which one you mean.
Yeah, you know which one. Yeah. Wow. Like, the first time I met them, I was like, it's Noel Gallagher Fielding or whatever.
I do have a cousin that looks quite like him, yeah.
Anyway, draw.
Does everyone called Noel have Noel Fielding has distinctive hair? Noel Gallagher has distinctive Manchester hair. Do all Noels have distinctive hair?
Well, everyone from Manchester is called Noel.
Noel Edmonds doesn't have distinctive hair.
No, maybe his pubes are like that, though.
I mean, he has a beard, but it's not a distinctive beard. It's more.
Again,
it was at the time, though. It was at the time. Like, he was known as like the beard. Not many people had beards when he like famously had a beard.
I suppose.
So it kind of comes under the guise of distinctive hair. I think I'm onto something here. I'm not sure what or what.
I'm trying to think of other famous Noels.
I don't know what Noel Coward looked like.
Oh, Noel.
I forget.
Noel. Fucking. What's his name?
Noel.
No. Hogger from World of Warcraft. He's a famous Noel.
Matthew, talk about the things we've been trying to talk about for 10 minutes, please.
That was very good.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on from that. Third season of Agretsuko is out, which we've watched.
I need to get through the second season of Agretsuko.
It's Agretsuko. It's great.
Yeah, I love it.
Shitty boss.
Yeah, look, this is the thing. I don't like watching dubs. That's just my personal preference.
Yeah.
If you prefer dubs, then great. That's awesome. I don't, and that's fine. But it's really weird because I don't like the just normal spoken parts of the dub. I prefer the sub to that, but in the dub's music, I much prefer that.
Yeah, I know. We've been watching the subbed version, but yeah, the deaf voice that she does in Japanese is so much worse.
It's just kind of it's incredibly high pitched and screechy.
Yeah,
and I hate using that word, but and there's a lot more bass to it in the dub version. So it's like, this is.
Yeah,
I feel so horrible.
The downside for us as watching the subbed version is that for whatever reason, it's never done this before. But the thing that we're watching it on, like, the subtitles just die. Occasionally, like, you'll get halfway through an episode and the sub stops showing up, but
just go out
because you're so into it and you like don't quite know, it takes you a few lines to be like, hang on, because sometimes, quite often, you can sort of tell what they're doing by like their actions and context and stuff. And especially, and it seems to somehow do it at the best opportune moment where we last for a few seconds. We're like, hang on, there's not been any subtitles for the last like 30 seconds. We're like, wait, what?
Oh god!
You inadvertently were almost able to speak Japanese for 30 seconds.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. It's like flying. If you just don't notice that
Yeah,
you can't speak
like
Japanese,
in cartoons if you run off a cliff.
yeah, if you
Until you notice what's happening.
Yeah, the moment you notice that you don't fluently speak Japanese is the moment you can't understand them.
Yeah.
That's actually true.
Weirdly that, yeah.
Also, you don't need to, because anytime they say sprinkles, it's fine, because it's...
Oh, yes, I love that. And I can't do that noise. I don't know how to do it. My voice... Yeah, it's amazing. I can't do it.
Well, I mean, I took like a year of Japanese at school. So.
And it was mostly just learning to make that noise.
And it was literally just like, konnichiwa, koriwa, desu ka? There you go. You know what's really funny? I remember I've had like those creepy anime fans being like, actually it's pronounced desuka, and I'm like, I actually have studied Japanese. I was taught by 2 fluent Japanese speakers, and you've just watched a shit ton of Fruits Basket. So get the fuck off your anime horse, son.
Mostly because it will be, anime horses tend to look freaky.
Yeah, they really do. What it's like,
not as bad as JoJo dogs, but
or not as bad as Sailor Moon cats.
Oh, they're cute at least.
They are cute, but they are just kind of like. I think like maybe the manga is worse because, like, it's just like it's like a weird, like square melon with a couple of spikes on it. That's what the cats look like.
Is this where we start busting out our spicy hot takes about how Naoko Takeuchi can't really draw?
No, not really. You know what's really funny though? In the Sailor Moon S movie, Luna makes out in her cat form. She makes out with a human guy.
That is fucking messed up.
Yeah.
So some guy just makes out, has a sloppy make-out session with a cat.
What's even worse is that it's non-consensual. He's unconscious at the time. And she's just like, ugh. And then she's like, oh, ooh. And then she just runs through a field making like really heavy breathing noises. And my brother came in and went, what the fuck are you watching? And I was like, I'm watching Sailor Moon. He's like, it didn't sound like Sailor. And I showed him the thing. I showed him like Luna kissing the guy who's asleep. And he was like, okay, now imagine that, like anime makeout noises, and then that noise happening. And I was like, you know what? That's fair. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's okay because Luna is only in cat form, but like she actually is like has like a human form. So like it's fine because she turns into a sexy woman at the end. And they fly around in the sky.
You know the part that I dislike most about anime? Is that when you're talking about it, you have
There's always that one part.
You always have to spend at least some amount of time going, okay, but canonically, that sexual assault wasn't that bad.
Okay, you want to hear about like the...
No, I don't. I don't want to continue talking about this, quite frankly.
Like, the worst part about Sailor Moon is that Chibiusa, her daughter from the future, is in love with her dad. And when she turns evil, she makes out with her dad.
Anime was a mistake.
Anime was a mistake. I fucking love Sailor Moon, but that's just the worst thing ever. Anyway, Drama Matt, you're saying about watching some TV or fucking whatever, I don't know.
Yeah, it's good. There's quite a nice sort of character arc in this series, and it's sort of, because I think we watched the first 2 series, and like their series and things happen. But then we watched the like 100 1-minute long little shorts of it, which were great. But there's no development or storyline in any of those, really.
It's just, I'm guessing it's kind of like Garfield comics.
Yeah, basically.
It's just like, Garfield is here and lasagna happens.
Yeah, exactly. So going back to one, you're like, oh, there's character development and things are happening, and this is great. I mean, the 1-minute ones are great as well if you can access them on some hypothetical website where you can watch cartoons and it's online or something. They're great. You go and watch them if you like the series. But it was really nice coming back to a proper series that can have like, a more serious storyline. Well, not serious, but
just like
meaningful.
Actually have a story.
Yeah. It's good. Last thing we've been watching, and I was up to date as of the last podcast recording, but then we didn't speak about it because I wanted to speak about it with Webb, and then now I'm not up to date. But this new season of Discovery,
yes,
which is very. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, new season's great. It's basically a redo. Well, it's like a soft reboot of the whole series anyway, but it's also a redo of Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda, but it doesn't contain Kevin Sorbo.
Who's a cock?
Who is, I think I described on Twitter as a bollock.
A singular bollock.
Yeah, just a singular bollock.
A sentient singular bollock.
I don't think I'd go that far. No, he's a right piece of shit.
No, he's an absolute fucking piece of shit.
And so, the fact it doesn't contain Kevin Sorbo means that it's 100% better than Andromeda. But it's basically the same story. Like premise
but
for the whole
good.
thing. Like, so yeah. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. How are you? How are you finding it?
I'm really enjoying it. My main takeaway from it is that Michael is so much fun. Like, she's just not been fun for the first 2 series, and there's various reasons why that might be the case. You know, she's gone through shit in various different events,
and she was raised Vulcan, so that's like you know.
I know, but
I hate
her being moody and Mardy the whole time just kind of got a bit boring almost.
Yeah,
and I know there's valid reasons for it, but it was just like, just like smile.
It's that kind of like very like hard ass kind of thing is very cookie cutter, especially in like a more kind of, I know like Starfleet isn't military per se, but in that kind of organized in
a chain of command
thing, it's like it's very done. And so having someone who's a little bit more quick, a little bit more different, she's interesting is definitely refreshing.
And there's various reasons why, because you know.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, it can still be fully justified and like make sense, but it can still be like a little bit droll.
But just watching her like enjoy herself and smile and make a few jokes and things it's so refreshing. I've really enjoyed it.
I've because I think they've done a really good job of breaking all the established things from the early stuff and like kind of putting a line underneath it, because even the fact that, like, spoilers, but Michael was separated from Discovery for like a solid year. So that means that they've sort of been able to write in why she's changed, because she's literally spent a year off screen living a completely different life. So they I think basically everything they've done has been really smart to make the show work, and the simple fact that they've got the whole conceit about like warp not working how it used to. That the spore drive suddenly becomes something like that's useful, and means that even though Discovery is a ship that's 900 years out of date, it's still like a notable ship. It still has something that the other ones don't. And I mentioned this on Twitter, that I think the real thing, because the fact that this whole thing ties it's basically because if you don't know, they've gone so far into the future that the Federation isn't around in the same way anymore.
Eliminating my biggest problem with it was the fact that it was a fucking prequel.
Yeah, exactly. It means they're gone to a place where they can do whatever they want, because they are currently the furthest on in the timeline.
And they have basically complete creative freedom, which is doing them wonders.
The only thing that comes after this is one of the short treks, which I've mentioned before, called Calypso. That's one of the best pieces of sci-fi made in the last few decades.
Excuse me, have you even seen the Snyder Cut?
I love it how it's like there's three certainties of Twitter. One, if you say that Ricky Gervais is a piece of shit, which he is, it will summon Ricky Gervais fans to you to tell you to shut up.
Sometimes Ricky Gervais himself.
Yeah, sometimes, because he's that much of a whingy little bitch.
Yep.
Two, if you are a woman, you will get hate. Or if you are not a cis het male, you will get hate. And three, if you mention the Snyder Cut in any way that isn't just sucking Snyder's dick, it summons Ricky Gervais-esque fans of Zack Snyder to attack you. It's really weird. It's like the button in the museum in the bonus area of Modern Warfare 2's ending thing, where it's just a big red button that says "Do not press." That's the mention the Snyder Cut / Ricky Gervais in a negative light, and then everything in the museum comes to life and opens fire on you.
Yeah,
that's literally what it's like.
Except the people that come to life are people that really need to watch movies that don't contain people wearing spandex.
I mean, let's not be hasty. I
Like,
mean,
it's totally fine to watch those movies. It's totally fine to love to have those be your favourite movies. But every now and again, you should probably watch something where that's not the case.
yeah, I mean, like, there's that Pokemon porn parody with Dickachu in it. Go give that a watch. You'll realise how much Snyder steals from that fucking universe.
I'd rather watch Pokemon porn than watch fucking Zack Snyder's fucking bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, I'd rather watch Pokemon porn again. I mean, I'm sure this is one of the very, very first, like,
Sorry.
MisanthroPod. Sorry, it's in context.
Yeah, it is. Okay, keep going. I've got something, but keep going.
Oh god, I'm worried. Okay. You're probably gonna, like, I don't know, like...
Come on.
Okay, anyway. One of the first, like, I think in the first, like, 10 episodes of MisanthroPod, I was like, so I watched the Mighty Muffin Pounder Rangers, which has David Cage in it, as Zordon. Like, seriously, he looks like exactly like David Cage. It's so fucking weird. And then, like, literally after the first 5 minutes, it's just a bunch of naked people, and you're like, oh, you could have left the helmets on your head. You know, it's like, oh, it's just a bunch of people fucking, and it's like...
Were they wearing colour-coded condoms?
No.
That is a mistrick.
Right? And the thing is, I would have had, like, I don't know, someone, like, raw dogging the fucking Megazord. That would have been hot as hell. But also, because, like, they literally just have, like, because all of the Zords are dildos, they're sex toys, being tugged along on strings, and it's really funny. But yeah, I'm sure I've already mentioned all this. But yes, Drama Matt, you were going to, like, admonish me?
You said you'd rather watch the Pokemon porn again, and porn again in my head sounded like Bjorn again. So, my head imagined this whole universe where it's a combination of Pokemon and the ABBA tribute act Bjorn again as, like, some weird mashup. Like, I don't even know, but it was the best thing ever.
Star Trek Discovery, anyway.
Yes.
I like this universe better. The ABBA tribute band and Pokemon porn, that's the sci-fi for me.
What I was going to say before we got onto this whole conversation
We missed you.
was that one thing I think that works really well with this compared to Andromeda that did a very similar thing. Because if you don't know, the basic plot of Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda was there was a ship called the Andromeda Ascendant that got trapped in time and came out like 200 years or something in the future, where the Systems Commonwealth, the version of the Federation that it belonged to, no longer existed, and the basic premise of the show was that they were trying to recreate it in the future. But one of the problems was that you didn't know the Systems Commonwealth, so you didn't give a shit about it, and everything you heard about it made it sound like they were secretly Nazis.
Okay,
so,
but they literally have, like, a race called the Nietzscheans.
Yeah, but they did fight the Commonwealth, so...
They're on, like, planet Ayn Rand or fucking whatever.
Oh, you don't... Oh, please, I don't want to think about Andromeda more than I have to.
Yeah, me neither. That's why I'm, like, trying to hurry you through it.
But in this, you know the Federation. We've seen it both good and bad, and we have an association with it. So wanting to see it rebuilt in its idealized form means much more to the viewing audience. They're invested with that idea. And yeah, there is also a bit which I don't want to spoil anything because I know you've not seen the last couple of episodes. There is a USS Nog. That you see
makes me very
in the future.
happy.
It's just in the background as well. I didn't notice it at first, but I've seen it. Like I said, it's an
The first Ferengi Starfleet.
Yeah, it's an Eisenberg class.
Yes.
Because it's named after the actor who passed recently.
Oh no!
Yeah. I think it's Eisenberg, his surname. I'm bad with names. But yeah, they named the class of ship after the actor who played Nog.
That's really
So
sweet.
that was nice. But basically, it's really fun because you see the crew seeing future ships and nerding out about them.
That's so cool.
Like, oh my god, that's like that nacelle system. How does that work? 'Cause it's not properly attached. Oh wow, how does that?
You mean literally just being engineers?
Yeah, being engineers and also being being Star Trek fans.
Being Star Wars fans.
It's fine.
Oh my god, is that
No,
an
that's
X-Wing?
come on.
See,
We're
I
already-
miss this when I'm like, hey, let's be happy and have fun, and you start shouting at me. I miss that a lot.
No, it's just because we've already like got 3 deep on tangents already on this part, and I just don't want to go down it again. but yeah, and I that was like really nice because it was like recreating what fans do when when they see like a fleet of ships. They do that, and so seeing it in the show was kind of nice because that's something that I think Discovery had done generally well. Anyway, which is to make the characters seem excited to be there and to be genuinely like, oh my god, that's like that's crazy. Like, it's why the whole like Tilly saying the first fuck in Star Trek. Was funny because she was like, "Oh, that's a science thing." She's like, "That's so fucking cool," and then her superior like going, "Tilly," like, "Oh, I'm sorry, sir. No, you're right. It is fucking cool." Which I thought was good. But yeah, I've been really enjoying this season. It's been very good.
Yeah, and mental health episode was pretty good too. It's like, oh, this is just an episode focusing on the crew and how they're dealing with this like weird situation they're in, and how they're suddenly separated from all of the like everything and everyone they know. It's like generations gone because they're 900 years in the future or something.
Yeah, it's about 900 years in the future.
And it's really good. If you still haven't watched it yet and you're like struggling with the first 3 episodes of the first series, really stick with it. I mean, we shouldn't be surprised at this point that Star Trek gets better with time, but it really does.
Yeah, it's a funny one because, like, on the one hand, like, season 1 is really rough in places, and season 2's got some real pacing issues. But it's also like jumping to season 3, you miss out a lot of the context.
Yeah, definitely.
And so I think you could, with a primer, just jump into season 3, like just to know the context of what's happened to get them there. But you are missing out a lot as well. So it's like I always say, like DS9 is my favorite Star Trek, but to watch it, you kind of need to watch a lot of Next Gen to fully get the context to realize why it's so good. So I don't think you could just watch it on its own and get quite as much from it. I mean, you still could because it's just good TV, but
Yeah.
But yeah. But yeah, watch those other episodes. They're also good.
But yeah, that's me done. Snipe.
Yes.
What have you been doing?
I've been watching a lot of pornography. I haven't really.
Pokemon?
Of course, I'm a connoisseur. That's the way you pronounce it, obviously. I've been pretty unwell, mental health-wise, and physically. I thought I had the Rona. So I went and actually got a corona, like, COVID-19 test, which was super scary.
Did you have to have the thing jammed up your nose?
I had to do it myself.
Oh, did you have to jam it up your nose?
Yeah.
Okay.
What you do is you basically, back of your throat, you stick your tongue out, and then your tonsils are those 2 lumps that kind of close around your uvula. At the back of your throat, and you just got to rub it on those for like 10 seconds.
And try to pretend you don't have a gag reflex.
Honestly, that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was straight after that, you take the thing and you insert it 2.5 centimeters into your nasal cavity and like ram that around for 15 seconds, which I sneezed 5 times. Because it was so awful. And the guy, like, because I was like, if you go in for a test, it's really spooky, but it kind of has to be super serious, so I don't begrudge it. You go in, you have to all single file. You get assigned a guy who will take you to a sterile cubicle and stand watch to make sure that you don't, like, I don't know, spit on everything or lick everything and do the test properly. There's like a mirror in there and everything. You're not allowed to put your bag or like anything on anything. You're not allowed.
They've got it nailed down a bit more than when we did ours. What, a month ago?
God, what happened when you got yours?
It was just there was not that, you didn't get a staff person each. There was like a couple of them between loads of people, and the instructions weren't that clear, and it was fine, but it wasn't.
Well, they gave
very organised.
a black bag, a black sealed plastic bag. And you get escorted to this sterile cubicle. The guy stands there. He's not really like a helper. He's more like a fucking security guard. And like, he's like, open the package, and I'm like, okay. It felt very kind of like I'm gonna get like thrown in jail for treason or something. I was just like, holy shit. And he's like, the instructions will be on the leaflet, and it's like telling you what to do, and it's like, don't poke the fucking the weed, because it's not like a Q-tip, it's like sandpaper. It looks like it's like, open this, and then, you know, don't.
It's not scratchy like sandpaper.
The one I used was.
Really? It wasn't not quite in the same way.
It was pretty vicious. I think maybe it was just because I'm super sensitive in my nose or something. But yeah, and it's like they have a mirror there, and it's like, oh, find your tonsils. If you don't have tonsils, rub where they would have been. And it's like, okay, yeah. And then he was like, oh yeah, put it in there. Also, you have to blow your nose first. Oh, do this, do that. And I'm like, okay. And it's like, hey, I knew what I was doing, so, you know, because he was telling me, so it was fine. But yeah, that came back negative, because I was, like, super fucking exhausted. Unfortunately, Wibb's dad got it, and you had contact with him, so you isolated.
Yeah, fortunately, one of the weeks, basically, I found out that my dad got the Rona, and I should also be self-isolating. But the first week of it was the week that I was kind of depressed, so I wasn't going out anyway.
Yeah, he didn't even leave the house anyway, and so yeah, so you only needed to actually like deliberately self-isolate for like 3 days. So yeah, you did pretty well. So I was like, oh shit, okay. So I went down. It was actually really good because I was like, you can just book it online. So if you can't get one unless you're a key worker or you have symptoms.
Yeah.
So if you have symptoms, I would recommend booking one. It is a little bit scary, but it's super safe.
And it gave you the peace of mind
and
that you were just regular ill.
I just had like a cold or something. So yeah, it's fine. So yeah, that was a bit of excitement.
Yeah, we like a bit of excitement.
Yeah, you got to have a bit of excitement, don't you? But yeah, apart from like that, I have actually played 2 games.
Good
Holy shit.
Yeah, right. First one, Sims 4 Snowy Escape. Okay, so the funny thing with this is because EA is the fucking worst, always has been, always will be.
Yeah.
They released...
Although various other games companies are trying really hard.
Ubisoft is really trying hard. It's whacking off in front of a mirror. It's pretending. It's like dressing up in EA's clothing, but it just can't get it right, you know?
I will say that I feel that Ubisoft might be slightly worse since they have a history of sheltering predators within its company. So that's actually like real world stuff.
No, fuck. I did not know that.
Yeah, no, that's
pretty disgusting.
Yeah, that's the big problem with Ubisoft. And they are not doing anything about it. Fuck Ubisoft.
They keep saying they might, but then not doing anything at all, which is kind of worse.
Yeah, but then you've got the fucking really, really vocal idiot minority dude bros going, oh my god, stop bringing politics into it. And it's like,
It's not politics, just trying to keep people safe.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway.
Anywho.
Basically, big corporations are all cunts.
I mean, yeah, as a general rule.
As a general rule. So yeah, the funny thing about this was I was super stoked about it because it's basically like, this is the Japanese expansion, which also kind of sucks because now they have like a sign in this expansion. It's not just a free update with this little thing where if you put a sign in the house, when a sim goes into the house, they automatically take their shoes off.
Okay.
Which is like, that's really cool. However, that is a massive part of like Eastern culture.
Yeah.
And it kind of sucks that people who belong to that culture can't have that part of their culture represented without paying £35.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. That seems like the sort of thing
that should have been in the free update.
Because loads of expansions do that, where they'll introduce something in a paid expansion, but it'll be something that they just put into the game as standard. City Skylines does that all the time.
I mean, to be fair, they like with The Sims, they have done that before, like with little bits and bobs. Like they recently, just before the Snowy Escape expansion, they brought out a thing called Sentiments, which is kind of like just shared memories between Sims. And like, like my sim took his daughter to like a snow festival, and and it was like, they built a snowman, and they had some food and they had a good time, And she basically, there's like, it's like, oh, look for void critters, which void critters are literally just Pokemon in the Sims world. It's like, oh, and it's basically play Pokemon Go and collect 10 creatures, you know, and they did that. And then they both had the sentiment of like, had a wonderful time at like the Winter Festival or whatever. And I was like, that's really nice. And like loads of little kind of like updates, so, you know, like to create a sim and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, no, that's cool. Also, you could have just put the sign in the normal game because it's literally just a sign.
Yeah.
And it is quite integral to a lot of like to you know, quite a large different culture from ours. But I mean, okay. But that aside, it's actually pretty fun. There's like, it's called, the new area is because you get a new like world kind of thing, and it's called Mount Karembi. It's actually really fun. My biggest problem with it is that it doesn't have many residential slots. And if you have a sim that lives there and they have kids, they literally dress in like Japanese uniforms and go to school. And I think that's so fun. And I wish I could set it so that kids have uniforms sometimes. Or like, you know, like this kid goes to this like Mount Karembi school, so they dress up in like, you know, the cool outfit. But who knows? They've finally given us like different platform, like so you can have 2 rooms or like a segment of a room be like a step down or a step up. Okay. So you can have like I can't remember the actual term for it, which is I think that's just free update kind of stuff, but that's what came in with it. And it's been fun. It's been fun.
I've heard it's incredibly buggy.
This is the thing. Because, I mean, to be fair, credit where credit's due, Sims 4 is usually pretty good with its expansions. I've not seen one this bad in quite a while, where people were just like, it crashes literally like every 10 minutes. Like, it was borderline unplayable for the majority. I had it crash once because I found out that the mini fix for it was to disable sound, and I'm like, motherfucker, I never play with sound on anyway. That's my podcast game. I don't care.
So you just didn't. So
I didn't notice.
Yeah, the thing that causes the crash just obviously isn't present for you.
I was like the 1%. And I was fine with it. So yeah, and like they were. This was like,
That's
I think it came out. Off an hour. Yeah. Fuck you. I mean, true. Just guillotine me, it's fine. And like, I think it came out on like the 14th, and they were like, hey, we're sorry that everything sucks. They literally had an in-game, like, on the menu notification.
Oh, that's when you know it's bad.
Oh, yeah.
That's where they put it, basically.
Oh, okay.
It's like, we know that there's there have been some stability issues. We should have a patch out for it by the 20th. And people were like, that's a week away. And I'm like, yeah, but there's a pandemic. And, like, just turn your sound off. It's not... I know it's really sucky and this should not have fucking slipped through the net. But even, like, you know, like... And fuck EA, but, like, everyone's working from home. Everyone's super stressed.
Forcing developers to work all day every day for 4 days to get this patch out a few days early is a little bit...
Yeah, it's a bit much, so just... like, normally I'd be like, yeah, fuck you, come on. But because, like, people are working from home, people are, like, sick or whatever, it's like, you know what, cut them some fucking slack and just turn your sound off.
It does sound like the sort of thing that is like, no, this should have been from, like, up above, should have just been like, no, this needs to be put back a week.
Yeah, or like a month. Like, I don't care if a game is delayed for, like, a year, as long as nobody's being fucking whipped.
See, the problem is that you're not a shareholder, and shareholders, I mean, what are they for? They just seem to make the world worse.
They sit there and they have money, and they...
Oh, yeah, they have money, and that means they have like, power.
Yeah, and they basically sit there and go, oh, do this thing or I'll basically take your home off you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they fin-dom everyone, but without consent, so they're kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. We should guillotine billionaires. I mean, I'm just saying, in Minecraft, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I've actually been
Java
enjoying
edition.
that. Yeah, just a Java edition. Come on, we're not crazy.
Not in VR. We're not sick.
We're not fucked in the head. I've also been playing another game called Prey because I am a creature of extremes.
This is the game that is part of the same series as the old Prey, but basically it's got nothing to do with it.
Fucking do with it, and I dig it. So Prey is like, it's basically System Shock. Which is like, for the young'uns amongst us, that's like BioShock but old. BioShock built on a lot of System Shock stuff. It has a lot of the same elements, hypos, magical powers, that kind of stuff.
But a lot simpler. But
BioShock's
a
lot simplified.
Because System Shock is a nightmare to play.
Don't get me fucking started. Brilliant game though. And it's basically like that. It's not like BioShock. It's a lot more System Shock than it is BioShock, in the way that it's fucking hard.
You know what I most like about it?
What?
How it's basically prop hunt.
It is! Okay, so they've just weaponized... Like, they sat there and was like... Arcane Studios literally sat there and went, what if Prop Hunt was a horror game?
Yeah.
Because there's an enemy in that.
Do people still know what prop hunt is? I just realised that.
Probably not. Okay, Prop Hunt. Very quick thing. It's an old TF2 mod.
Yeah.
Or Gary's mod.
It was originally TF2, and then they made a Gary's mod one, as far as I'm aware.
So it was originally a Team Fortress 2 mod, where there would be, like, the enemy team would spawn, and they'd be all, like, normal. They'd be, like, spy, soldier, fucking whatever. And then the other team would spawn as random objects. So you could be, like, a cartwheel, or a control point, or a crate, and you would have to hide as the enemy team looked for you, and you had like really, really low health, so they'd like kill you instantly, or something. Like 1 or 2 hits, like, you know, I think everyone was basically like scout, so they had the lowest health.
Something like that.
Yeah, and within the allotted time, if the Seekers didn't kill all of the props, then the props won, and vice versa. It was an incredibly fun game. Just ridiculous, especially because you'd see like a cactus just fucking tear ass past you, and you're like, wait a fucking minute.
Yeah, Prop Hunt was great.
Or during the snowy level, you'd spawn as like a cactus, and you'd be like, well, I'm fucked.
No, it did always pull from the items that were in the level. So.
It was, I remember that there was one thing you'd spawn as, and it was really fucking obvious.
But there was some that were
There were some that were really weird. But yeah, basically, there's an enemy called a Mimic in Prey that just does that. It turns into like a coffee cup, or like one of them will turn into a book or something, and you'll just be wandering along, and suddenly like the coffee cup will get like really long inky tendrils and just fucking start like slapping your ass.
Yeah, it's quite funny actually when it's not scary.
When it's not scary, it's fucking hilarious. If you're like a second party watching, it's the funniest thing in the world. And I'm pretty sure, because I was looking through the Steam library today with like for Prey, and it looked like they just made a Prop Hunt kind of thing, and I'm like, oh, I gotta play that. That's great. But yeah, it's very System Shocky in the way that, you know, you get hypos, so you can upgrade your abilities, you can upgrade your suit, you can go through 3 separate paths, which are like engineer, security, and there's like something else.
Have we talked about this before on the podcast?
Yes, I have, but I haven't gotten that far before.
Okay.
But yeah, and it's like this dystopian future thing on like set on this place called this space station called Talos 1, and it's I really like it, but it is really exhausting to play. Like, I really like how the story's being told. I like the characters.
Is it like the tenseness of it?
It's like, it's not just tense. It's the fact that I kind of get like a Silent Hill kind of feel from it, not in the kind of like atmosphere way. Although there are moments that really do, like there's a couple of moments my blood's run cold. Like phantoms. They're like, I don't know, I haven't got far enough to know what they are, but they're basically like, you do encounter a couple of phantoms, which are these weird kind of like humanoid, that they're bigger than humans, but they're kind of like scribbly black blurs, and they like whisper shit, and like they just kind of mention that, like they'll just come out with fragments of conversations. And one of them, I was sneaking past a couple, and because they hit fucking hard, and especially early on in the game, very, very hard. Like, you don't want to be fighting things. You know, it's really difficult. You're made of crepe paper. They're made of fucking like lightning and fucking broken glass, and it's the worst thing in the world. And just as I slipped past these two and ran for the elevator, one of them said my name, and it was so fucking scary. Because it wasn't like an angry thing, it just went, Morgan. And I was like, because that's the name of your character. Which is really cool. You can play as a lady or a guy, and they're both called Morgan. And I don't think I've ever seen someone play as the guy as, like, cool as he is. It's like, yeah, but I want to play as the cool science lady. Just for a change. But yeah, and it's just, it's very stressful in the way that I'm, like, it's difficult. I've got it on story mode, and it's still quite hard. Things hit pretty dang hard, and it's kind of like you have like a set map, and you're going back and forth. It's like a Resident Evil kind of haunted house thing. You just kind of unlock shortcuts and things like that.
Again, very System Shock, yeah.
Yeah, very System Shock. But the thing is, I'm a big stupid doo-doo millennial head, and if something isn't literally flashing... Technical term. If something isn't waving its sequin-studded penis in my face, I just don't notice it. I literally was
we have been ruined by mini-maps and wave markers.
Yeah, and honestly, like, I do find it very stressful because it's a horror game that you can get lost in. And I don't like that. It's like... I really wish I could just could commit to sitting down and just playing a big long stint of it, but it is very draining because I'm sitting there going, okay, there's like 3 Typhons, which is what the enemies are called, 3 Phantoms just crawling up my fucking rectum, and I have to figure out like how to get past this area, and I'm stuck, and it's just really fucking exhausting, and it's really frustrating because I really like the game. It's just, it's like, what did I say to you earlier? It's like, the longer I play it, the stupider I feel. It's just like, it's like, okay, I'm playing as this amazing fucking engineer, this fucking, like, amazing scientist that graduated from space MIT.
Science genius.
This science genius with a massive brain, and I'm sitting here going, I just had 3 cups of coffee and forgot that I didn't make him decaf, and now I'm shaking. You know, I'm like, I just accidentally ate, what is it, the peel of a burger. Like, I just ate burger wrapping or whatever. Yeah, burger peel.
Burger peel.
Yeah, I mean...
It's like a banana.
Point proven that I am not a sciencer of any kind of, like, description.
Because the science term is a burger shell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because burgers are actually closer to crustaceans.
Yeah.
And all crustaceans strive to be crabs.
Yes, this has happened on multiple occasions.
Yeah. Burgers turn into crabs left, right, and fucking center.
I literally, like a month ago, just got weirdly obsessed with learning about crabs on Wikipedia. I now know how to... I now, if you gave me a crab, I could tell you what sex it was. I know how to sex a crab. Yeah.
I know how to sex gerbils.
We should probably not say these words.
Well, no, that's you know, in animal husbandry, that's actually quite an average term. And anyone who laughs at that is a shit and isn't as smart as me.
Oh, come on, we laugh at it if anyone else said about it.
Yeah, peak gerbil science or Snipe. But yeah, I've been really enjoying it, but it is quite exhausting, and it's frustrating because I really do want to kind of, like, you know, get into it, and but it is tiring and difficult. So
I had that problem with Bloodborne because I really love the game.
This gives you a lot of fatigue.
But it was a game that I get fatigued really quickly playing, so I kind of played it in little spurts, and I need to just start playing it. I probably need to start playing it from scratch, honestly, just because otherwise I'll be so lost as to where I am.
Yeah. Well, I know I beat Gascoigne for you.
Well, you didn't beat him for me. I had beaten him. You did beat him on stream.
Yeah, and it was amazing.
You did, yeah.
I'm
you did
powerful, virile even. Anyway, and I've listened to a couple of podcasts, new podcasts.
Oh, cool.
So there's 3 actually. I think it's A Voice in the Darkness, which is pretty good. It's about a occult, like a doctor of occult science or whatever it is. He's like, his like speciality is like spooky shit. That's the official term.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he has like a radio show where people call in with their spooky problems, and it's pretty cool. It's got the guy who...
I'm sorry, I'm just imagining now it's like Graham
Vincent
Torrington on Late Night Love.
It's late night spooky.
but telling people, like people calling up and going like, so Graham, I've got too much ectoplasm in my house, and he's like, okay, this is what you do with it.
I'm opening my cupboards and it's just sloshing onto my face. It's horrible.
Also, shout out to anyone who gets the reference to Graham Torrington on Late Night Love.
Late Night Love. I used to listen to that when I was at college.
Yeah.
Because it was like...
Weird memories.
Yeah. I used
Do
to...
you remember that too?
Yeah.
Oh my god, no way!
Because I used to listen to it because I had a Walkman that had a radio built into it, so I just used to listen to it like when I couldn't sleep because it was just something to listen to.
I used to literally just sit up. It's like if I get fed up of like listening to music or whatever, so I just kind of like I'd put that on and just doodle.
Yeah.
That is so weird. Call in if you also listen to...
Don't call in because I don't know how you'd get our number.
Yeah, okay, well, send an email if you remember Graham Torrington's Late Night Love. Because that sounds really weird, but it was just people kind of going, oh,
Just relationship advice.
Just relationship advice and stuff like that. It was noise. It was kind of like, that was before podcasts.
Yeah, it was basically the same kind of...
It was the same kind of thing.
Like that idea. I mean, that's what radio and podcasts...
It's
like,
just keeping
fill a similar niche.
Yeah. But yeah, and that's really good. Because it's got the... oh god, I can't remember the other one the guy's from. Shit. Fuck, I can't remember.
It doesn't matter. It's
yeah,
fine.
but he like the main voice actor, he does he narrates another horror podcast that's very, very good. I've been listening to The Oyster, which if anyone listens to The White Vault, which fucking fantastic, love The White Vault, can't get enough. Heck yeah, Peter Lewis. He's like my favorite voice actor, and he tolerates me for some reason. And like, you know, that's great. He's like if you listen to those two, you will have heard of The Oyster because both of them have been promoting it. It's a new like kind of like sci-fi dystopian podcast story. It has like, is it Keith David?
Well, I don't know.
The guy who did, like, the Arbiter's voice from Halo.
Yeah, it's Keith David.
Yeah, it's got him in it.
Oh, okay.
We've got some really good voice actors. Like, there's a lot of No Sleep podcast voice actor cameos. Like, they pop up in it occasionally. Like, David Cummings is in it, who's the host of the No Sleep podcast. And it's just this really interesting story about how... Also, like, the preview I listened to had a big thing in it, because it's, like, set in the future. And... it follows like a family of people of color, and it's like the dad's really mad, and because like apparently like there's something wrong with the world, like the earth, and like they're doing there's an event called the sorting, where they basically eugenics it super hard, but without using the no word. They have like armed people come to the house and go, oh yeah, we have deemed you valuable to society, and then they drag like one of the family members away, and then everyone else is just left on the surface to fucking die.
Good.
Like, whether you want to go or not, they take you because you're beneficial. And like
why is it called The Oyster?
Oh, there's a thing in it called The Oyster. But yeah, they call it like New Eden.
Okay.
And like, you know, they're talking about how, well, we have hopes for New Eden 70, which is like 2070.
Oh, this... So do you remember ages and ages ago I talked about some sci-fi...
Some sci-fi? No, you do that every day.
Some sci-fi books that I read from like the 60s. That were like short story compilations.
Oh, with the weird donut thing.
One of them had the hairy donut.
Yeah.
I kind of wish I kept that book, but I gave it back to charity because I knew I wasn't going to read it again. But I should have kept that because that story was so fucking weird.
Yeah. It's out in the world now.
Yeah, it's out in the world to torment somebody else with its weird donut things. But there was a story in that I don't know, it had a kind of similar vibe to it where there was like, yeah, these hermetically sealed cities but there's also life on the outside. And you just gave me like a flashback. So I was like, oh shit, that story. Except in that story, inside the cities, it all went to shit, and like people were just it got very descriptive of the like dankness of all these hot bodies
so it's
existing
basically
near
Reddit.
each other. Yeah, it was Reddit. Yeah.
It was Reddit. Yeah.
Sorry that you transported me to somewhere else for a second there.
Sorry. But yeah, I think you might actually like this. It's very, very well acted. And like the main character, she is basically like she's kind of a remembrancer. So and she's talking about her experiences and how she learned of the oyster and stuff like this, and she talks to people and basically gets them to go through their like unique experiences so she can like archive it as like a digital thing, so humans can kind of like in the future just go through that as an experience and learn.
Okay.
And just kind of for posterity as well. And she's talking like there's like a podcast in universe, and then these two podcasters that were podcasters in the old world, and now they're underground, and they're just like, and they have like fourth wall breaking like adverts. So they're like in the podcast they're like, hey, this like, oh, what is it? A Minor Inconvenience is the podcast name, and it's like, hey, that was my nickname at home.
I don't know, I like to think podcasters in a post-apocalyptic world is what we'll be doing post-Brexit, so...
Good morning, England. But
it's
yeah.
just in, everything's still shit.
I mean, we do that now.
Yeah, fair.
It's like, this just in, everything's still really shit. There we go. That's the sneak peek of Brexit 2021 or fucking whatever. And, you know, so they're like, oh, yeah, use the code OYSTER at this, and you can get food delivered straight to your bunker. And it's like, that's pretty fun. And the thing is, there's, like, this huge kind of, like, horrible, because it's obviously, like, big capitalism / fascism, because the two can't really be, they're two sides of the same coin. But anyway, so it's, like, you know, you're in a board, like, the lady's in a board meeting, and they're like, good. Okay, so how do we make people create more carbon? And like, there's like a woman who's like, oh yeah, I've designed a program that basically just floods the body with pleasure chemicals, and that puts them into a deep state of relaxation, and we can basically just turn off the population for 17 hours a day, so that they generate more of like a chemical we need. Because we want to make sure that we can create Eden like 70 in the future. So basically it's a big kind of like the 1% are basically farming people. It's like, I'm still quite, because there's only 2 episodes out, so it's still quite early on, and I'm kind of like trying to figure out what's going on, but it is really good.
Okay, cool.
I really can recommend that.
So shout out to this hot new podcast.
And then there's Spines.
That's a body part, not a podcast.
No, it is a podcast. And this one grabbed my attention because I was like, it's really weird. It's like it follows the main character, Ren. She doesn't know her real name. She's like an amnesiac who is like, yeah, the first thing I remember is a basement. It was like, is the attic. And I was covered in blood, and there was a man with a skull on his head, and then the attic burned down, and I ran away. And like, as it progresses, it's like, yeah, she knows, like, she has like a bunch of friends or people she knows, and she knows all of their names but one. So she's podcasting for the mystery guy, who she has memories of being in love with, but also can't remember his name. So, you know, she's like, yeah, you're out there somewhere. And it's like, and she's like, oh, so I went and found this guy, and, you know, people didn't notice his sculptures all over town. And I'm like, oh, okay, so that's interesting. And she's like, yeah, sculptures made of molded living tissue. like this horrible Cronenbergian monstrosities like in the middle of fucking like the city, but no one's paying attention to them. And like she goes up and she touches one and it's warm and hairy. And then a bunch of eyes just look down at her and she's like, yeah, this is like he's definitely been here. And it turns he's like a flesh sculptor. He basically takes body parts and he's just like molding them like clay, but they're still alive. And like, and you're like, okay, so this is like some kind of weird, like, thing of like people have powers. And it turns out, like, spoilers, Ren has like a couple of powers. Ooh. And she's like looking, and like, this weird shit keeps happening. And she's like, I'm seeking out my friends. And she reads our emails and she's like, yeah, most people are just like, die slut or whatever. I don't fucking care. And she like goes out and she meets other people with weird powers. And it's just like, it's spooky, it's weird, it's eerie. I like the lady who voices Ren she's very good. And it's thoroughly interesting and I really like it. So yeah, I'm like 7 episodes in. But yeah, it's good and I can recommend that.
Oh, cool.
So yeah. And that's pretty much all I've been doing. So, Wibblet, what have you been up to? Wonderful man.
Well, quite a bit. Mostly because I've technically not recounted things for 4 weeks. So,
I have no memory of the last month. Last calendar month, anyway.
I've been catching up with a lot of TV series that I've been meaning to catch up on, for the most part. So, I watched both seasons of Harley Quinn.
Oh, I've heard they're really good.
And it's really good.
Love it.
Because I initially saw some little clips of it and it was very sweary and violent. And I initially kind of was a little turned off by that.
Yeah.
But then I watched the other 30 seconds of those clips. And there's a lot of...
Oh, is this like a classic case of like, I remember BoJack being marketed as just like a Family Guy clone?
No, not really.
No, I mean, was it advertised poorly?
No, because I didn't see any advertising for it, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay, fair.
I'm just saying about clips I'd seen online.
Oh, okay.
So it does... The show swears a lot and is very gory, like comedically so. But the way, I think a good way to sort of like summarize the priorities of this show is that one of the very first things that happens in the first episode of season 1 is a group of rich people on a boat and one of them going, haha, look at this, literally there's a huge stack of money next to them. And it's like, yes, now we shall do our
Snyder Cut.
No, we shall do our favorite thing in the world, fucking the poor. And that's how the show starts.
That's literally like every day Jeff Bezos wakes up and just like starts wanking using like a big fleshlight made of $100 bills.
Yeah.
And is just looking at pictures of like starving people.
Yeah,
that's what he does every single fucking day.
It's basically. Do you remember when I was talking about Metalocalypse a handful of episodes ago?
Yeah.
And I was talking about how its violence and its misanthropy doesn't really do anything. It doesn't have anything to say about it, so it's just sort of a bit
kind of weirdly reinforcing.
It's just kind of it just kind of comes across a bit juvenile. When watched over like the whole course of the thing. Harley Quinn is sort of like, what if, like, it has some of those elements, like being incredibly gory and just swearing all the time and having this kind of misanthropic kind of thing, but it does so in this kind of bright and colourful way, and it does straight up like call out bits of It has an agenda. It does have politics because all art has politics, and it's quite open about them. And it does so in this kind of like quite nudge, wink, wink way that's quite funny.
Fucking the poor. I wonder what that could mean.
There's like a bit where Scarecrow like captures someone and is about to like inject them with something and is like something like it's like, oh, we'll see if your insurance covers this. Then he goes, who are we kidding? It never would. Let's be honest. The American healthcare system is the real villain here.
I mean, fucking yeah.
It's that kind of humor.
Oh my god, that's not even funny. That's just legit
Yeah, and it does that.
Crane just spitting fucking fire over there.
It does that all over it, and it reminds me a lot of like the Venture Brothers, where being a hero and a villain is like a vocation more than anything else. And so villains don't have to be bad guys. And
where's my goddamn electric car, Bruce?
And it exists in a kind of world that reminds me of like Saints Row, where it's so over the top and outrageous that even when the good guys are committing acts that end up with lots of innocent people dying, it's kind of hard to take it too seriously.
And it's kind of hard to hate them.
Just watch Harley Quinn. It's really good.
I like Frank.
Frank is great.
It me.
It can take a bit to get used to, like, just the amount of swearing it does, because
I mean, if you listen to this podcast, you're probably fine.
Oh, it's worse than we are.
Jesus.
Oh no.
And you're seeing it from like known characters, which is really interesting. The other thing is that it is not.
I mean, it's better than
Fuck Batman.
It's light years better than that. It's not afraid to do things with characters, like to kill off characters or have them radically change. It's not afraid to do that. It also makes Kite Man into a character who's relatable and you like.
Oh yeah.
Nothing's ever made Kite Man good, and they've managed it. Like, yeah.
Also, this is the important question. Is the Boom Boom Kitty in there?
The Boom Boom Kitty?
Captain Boom Boom. Orang.
Captain Boomerang.
Yeah.
I don't remember if he's been in it yet.
Because I know, like,
I think he might have
there's
had a
that
little
weird,
cameo.
like, Left 4 Dead kind of style game that's coming out with Harley. I was going to call him King Cooper, but he's like a big shark.
King Shark.
King Shark, there we go.
King Shark is so good in Harley Quinn.
I love
He
him.
is so fucking
You've
good.
shown me clips. You've literally unplugged your headphones and gone, you have to fucking see this part.
Clayface is fantastic as well.
Yeah.
Like, the
But
main
yeah,
crew is so good.
Harley, Boom Boom, King Shark, and then there's like another person. I think it's Deadshot.
Yeah, I think it's Deadshot in the game.
Yeah.
They have a habit of, like, they just pull out like DC characters from all over, and there's a lot of characters that you go, oh, they totally wouldn't let them near this show, and then it's like, oh no, Superman shows up. Like, I don't know how this got made. It's one of those things where it's...
Sorry, I was just reminded of apart from the boys that you described to me, and I just immediately imagined Superman doing that, and I'm like, yeah he would.
So yeah, Harley Quinn, really good. Definitely recommend it. If you liked things like the Venture Brothers, where it has that, but it's, you know, got more heart to it.
Where it's not just throwing slurs around.
Yeah, like think basically it's Harley Quinn kind of starts around the same sort of level. Like Venture Brothers got really good, but like Harley Quinn is like nearly as good as the Venture Brothers was when the Venture Brothers ended.
Oh shit.
So Harley Quinn has the potential. I know the 3rd season's been commissioned.
He's hoping
it's got the potential to be just fantastic. Really enjoy it. On a similar note, I also watched The Boys, both seasons of it, which is...
It's got Carl Urban in it.
It does have Carl Urban in it.
He was the Doom guy.
He was the Doom guy in the hit 2005 movie Doom.
Doom, which wasn't really in canon with Doom 3, but it took all the aesthetics from it.
Yeah. Couldn't it be in canon with Doom Eternal, though, given Doom Eternal's shtick?
It could be, yeah. I think actually there is like an Easter egg for it.
Good. I haven't beaten Doom Eternal, so
I
need to go.
I played it on stream, and like everyone was getting no faults of anyone, but they were all getting super hyped and spoiling loads for me, and I'm like, wow. And I honestly haven't played it since because it's kind of been ruined for me. I know nobody meant it, but it was like, oh,
yeah.
okay.
But
let this be a lesson. If you really are hyped about a game, play it on your own first before you play it publicly or anything like that. If you're streaming it, always play it on your own. I've learned this, so you don't have to.
Yeah. But anyway, The Boys is a similar kind of show to Harley Quinn in a lot of ways, in that it's a kind of grim, sweary, gory take on superheroes. With a sort of like grim, like black comedy sort of thing to it. However, The Boys is not as good.
Yeah, because Harley Quinn ain't in it.
Is it not as good or just not good?
That's an interesting question.
It feels to me, from what you've described, that it is a bit like Breaking Bad in the way that everyone is an absolutely irredeemable piece of shit. And this is what bugged me. I don't like Breaking Bad. And before anyone has a go at me, I've watched all of it. And I still think it's terrible.
Fair enough.
Also,
Yeah.
I like how everyone hates Skylar because she's the wife.
Yeah.
And the woman.
I never cared enough about it to watch more than like an
It's
episode.
basically just horrible things happening to horrible people, but not in the kind of vindicating kind of way.
Yeah, well, this The Boys is not the same kind of thing because
Thank fuck.
because it does have characters that you don't hate.
Oh, really?
Now, basically, the reason why I wanted to watch it was because the adverts for season 2, I saw them, and there was a character in it called Stormfront. And I don't know if people know this, but Stormfront is a famous neo-Nazi website. So I was like, you don't name a character Stormfront by accident. I want to know what they've done with this.
Yeah. Also, fuck Stormfront.
Oh, yeah.
They are cunts.
But so I decided to watch it, and so the basic kind of gist is there are superheroes, and they are sort of combined both people who are heroes as a job. So kind of like your kind of Venture Brothers kind of thing. Again, but also they are the media properties, so they have movies based on them like it's the MCU.
Oh my god, so it's like old Hollywood where they fucking own you.
Yes.
Okay.
So you've got these super powerful beings, but they are owned by a corporation.
Oh god.
And there's a bunch of other stuff to it I won't go into to spoil it, because there are some good things in it. Now, it is a thing that I would basically place content warnings for everything on it. And some of the things are not handled well. Some are handled well. Some really are not.
Heavy caveats with this one.
Heavy caveats. It's a show that I don't think I could wholeheartedly recommend, but it does have. If you are able to deal with its edginess, because the show is really fucking edgy, especially in its first season, of just being kind of.
So you said because Carl Urban's like Australian, and you were like, oh, he says the word like cunt a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say
because he's like playing an English guy.
Yeah, he's playing a guy called Billy Butcher, and
from Coronation Street.
Yeah. And he uses.
He's playing Billy Mitchell.
And like I don't know how other people and people who aren't like from the Commonwealth effectively
aren't from Scotland or Australia
or England. Like I know that there's like real. I know in places like America, the word cunt is
has a lot of... It's a very dodgy swear.
It's considered very sexist.
Yeah, whereas
in most contexts.
That's not how we use it. We basically, it's like... Because I don't very often use it unless I'm talking about irredeemable pricks. So it's kind of like you use this when you really want to fucking be angry. Or you just want to be... Also, oh, you're right, cunt.
Yeah,
it's not
it's
an Australian
say,
thing. It's like you're either my worst enemy or my best friend.
Yeah, and it's not to say that like the word doesn't have, given what it means, it does have implications, and so I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, it's not sexist. You're all just getting too offended.
Also, I don't want anyone to think, well, I'm a woman, I'm not offended, so that means no woman ever is offended, because that's also bullshit.
But it doesn't have the same weight when said in some places in the world, is my point.
Yeah.
And this guy's supposed to be...
It's not as loaded as a term.
Yeah, it's not as loaded a term in Britain. In some places in Britain anyway. Some places it is. It's complicated. But he's playing a character that says it all the time. But it's really weird because it feels like it was written by someone who has never used the word in his life. Because it's always said and it always feels like it's unnatural. It's really bizarre. I mean, there are some funny ones. Like the first time he encounters their equivalent of like the Invisible Man kind of character, and his response is like, well, if it isn't the Invisible Cunt,
that's pretty funny.
I'll admit, I laughed.
Yeah,
but like,
especially because I'm just imagining Phil Mitchell saying that. Well, if it isn't the Invisible Cunt,
that's basically it.
That's fan-fucking-tastic.
And so. But, like, it's quite mean-spirited in a lot of things. But so the general consensus seems to be that season 1 was kind of just a bit, like, mean-spirited and, like, it kind of lashed out in all directions and was just unnecessarily edgy for no reason. But people like season 2 a lot more because its satire is way more pointed and it just gets its kind of message across a lot better.
Well, if you don't mind me interrupting.
Yeah.
Interjecting even. But... you showed me a part which is actually very brilliantly done, which is the subtlety of, like, basically, what is the word? There's a proper term for it. It's the scene where Stormfront's, like, basically carrying on about, it's the immigrants, and she's using all the alt-right buzzwords, and she's like, I'm just looking out for my country. You know, all these, like, weasel words, excuses, and hiding behind, like her country and trying to protect all that shit from, let's be honest, the brown people. Yeah. And it's like, and it shows, like, this guy who's waking up, doing the same thing every fucking day. He's got like basically Funko Pops of Stormfront. He's like, you know, he's watching her on TV. He goes to the convenience store every day and goes to work, comes home. He repeat.
He's hearing the equivalent of Alex Jones. He's hearing the equivalent of Fox News.
Yeah, he's hearing that. Just that is the background radiation of every day of his life. And then as he kind of goes through, there's a woman he smiles at in the hallway, and she's just on the phone. She doesn't notice, and he starts like fucking glaring at her. As like aggressively kind of looking at it, and the guy who serves him at the convenience store is a gentleman of color, and he's like starting to eye him up suspiciously, and it shows just how insidious letting monsters have platforms is, and how it worms its way into your consciousness.
It's basically a really, really well demonstrated way of showing how things like stochastic terrorism work.
Yeah,
it's like when it does those things, like the show really shines when its satire is so pointed. And yes, turns out the name Stormfront was not chosen randomly. My God, it has a meaning, and yeah, it works really well. I don't want to spoil things through that season also, because there's some moments.
There is a thing that happens with her where I'm like, they knew exactly what the fuck they were doing.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow. Poignant.
It does some really good stuff. There's a character called Homelander who's sort of their equivalent. He's sort of a combined Captain America / Superman.
He's Super America.
And yeah.
Captain Man.
He is the worst. Yes. He's the worst person. The absolute worst person. But what they do with him is so well done. Especially in season 2. They really nail, like, what they're doing with him. So yeah, it's a show with some ups and downs. Has some moments of being really quite shitty, though. But has some moments of really spectacular writing. So it's something that I can't sit there and say unambiguously I can recommend, because there's a few scenes that I just said to
What do you mean
Snipe,
you turned to me, you were like, don't watch this.
Don't watch this.
Because that will fucking send you nuts. That will make you go bananas.
There's a couple of things that are like specific triggers that I know you have,
yeah.
and they would not be good for you to see.
No.
But yeah, so I guess a really tentative recommendation of watch it, bearing in mind that
heavy caveats.
Heavy caveats. On the other end of the spectrum,
okay,
I watched season 2 of DuckTales, the new one.
Okay, that's a bit, it's a bit grim.
Which was
edgy.
Much like the first season, because it finally got put on Disney Plus when I wasn't looking.
I, for one, would like to say woohoo about that.
Yeah. You know the best...
Oh, I'm sorry. That was terrible.
You know the best
I'm just
part...
trying to make people smile.
You know the best part about DuckTales is that you don't skip the intro.
No, because it's
Yeah.
it's so
The intro.
happy.
Like, just hearing the DuckTales theme just made me happy. Also, it's I think the show overall is really, really clever because...
I love Webby.
Webby's lovely.
Webby's so sweet.
They did a really good job of... because the show has all of this like wild and outrageous stuff in it, they did a good job of basically framing the entire show around what it would be like if there was such a thing as a good billionaire. Because if you can swallow that fantasy, then
You can.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, okay. Ducks
mermaids,
can talk.
mermaids, that's fine. Ducks
Bears can
talk.
fly
Yeah.
planes. That's cool.
That's small potatoes compared to billionaires being good. I made that joke on Twitter a week ago, and I was so proud of it, I had to make it again.
Like, comment, subscribe for more anti-billionaire comedy.
But no, honestly, the show has so much heart. I do think, because there is an overarching story in it. Like, fuck, I remember watching it and going, like, one of the final episodes of the first season is called, like, The Shadow War. And I was like, this is an episode of DuckTales, what the fuck?
No, the Shadow War, because Darkwing Duck's in it.
Darkwing, oh yeah.
I fucking
The show loves to like integrate things from other shows from the 90s, and Darkwing Duck has reappeared on multiple occasions.
I love it. And I love it how no one but me gets the reference, because I'm like the only person who's like, hey, have you heard of the Shadow?
Yeah, you're the only person that cares about the Shadow
I'm
that
the
I've
only
ever met.
person who cares about the Shadow at all. I just love it. You know what was really funny about the Shadow, and this explains a lot about my tastes romantically. When I used to watch the old 90s movie with Alec Baldwin, I was like, Alec Baldwin is an attractive man, that's fine. But when he became the Shadow and had that big nose, I was like, oh, what's this? Turns out I like big noses. Who knew?
I'm quite grateful for that.
That's the first thing I noticed about you.
Yeah.
This is a true story, but because I knew Wibb's cousin before I knew Wibb, and I had been single for like 2 years, and they just decided that they needed to hook me up with someone, and I was like, no. And I was out walking with your cousin and his girlfriend at the time in town, and you walked past, and it was when you had your longer hair that just covered your eye.
I had an emo cut.
And like, just as I was walking behind him, he was like, oh, that's my cousin now. And I remember turning, and I was like facing like your hair over your eye, and I just saw your nose, and I went, that is a fine ass nose. Ooh. It's true. There's literally, and you know what the first thing Wibb thought when he saw me? She's tall. Thanks.
You are tall though.
I had a dream that I was hanging out with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and some guy started making fun of me for being short, and I was like, I'm 6 foot, mate. And then Arnie was like, yes, she is 6 foot tall. What's wrong with you, you stupid boy? Stupid head. He actually called him a stupid head, and like, that was amazing. I was just like, this is the best dream. Also, I had a dream last night that there was a 90s Doom movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger played Doom Guy. And it was basically Steven Universe.
Yeah,
because he was like created in a lab with all these with 6 women, and they were all named after like precious gemstones. But Arnie's like name was Metal.
Yeah,
because he's Doom Guy.
He was Steven Universe.
He was Steven Universe.
But yeah, anyway, DuckTales.
Arnold Schwarzenegger as Steven Universe.
I mean, I would like to see that.
That would be amazing.
But yeah, DuckTales. I think that the second season, its overarching story isn't quite as strong as the first season, but it is still incredibly charming. And the fact that they basically make a big deal of integrating the moon theme from the NES game into the show, and it is beautiful. Like, that is not like hyperbole. Like, honestly, it is so lovely to hear, because like the moon theme, if you're not familiar, and I presume most people are, but the moon theme from the NES game,
more people are familiar with the moon theme from the NES game than they are with the Shadow existing at all.
Yes.
So yeah, go for it.
Is a piece of music that is widely regarded as one of the best pieces of music on the NES in its entirety. It's a lovely little tune, and they
Is this the moon theme?
That is not it.
Duck, 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 tails.
That is not it.
Woo.
It's absolutely not it.
I have been awake for way too long.
Way too long. They also put lyrics to it, which is lovely.
Yeah, I just told you them.
No. DuckTales, absolutely fantastic. Again, integrating stuff from other shows works brilliantly. Yeah, the whole. It's really weird that they bring in the whole thing of the in the actor who played Darkwing Duck, because Darkwing Duck is a show in universe. The actor who played him is called Jim Starling. Which, every time I hear it, I think of Jim Sterling.
Thank God for Darkwing Duck, I guess.
Yeah. And really, really great. If you haven't, there's another season that I haven't got around to watching yet because it's not on Disney Plus, and I wouldn't dream of watching a show on any platform that was less than legal.
Here in Snipe and Wib and the MisanthroPod play, Drummer Matt is here as well. We don't we do not endorse pirating of any kind. The only pirating we like is in Minecraft. The Java version.
So I've not got around to watching a third season yet, but honestly, it is lovely. Just really, really nice. And I don't want to give away how they do it, but there's another Scottish
I told
duck.
I told Longfang about this, and he fucking rolled. He thought
there
it
is
was so funny.
there is another Scottish duck called Flintheart Glomgold. Who's from the old stuff as well, and he's like
He's my grandpa.
He's great, but obviously like in the modern one, Scrooge McDuck is played by David Tennant, so he has an actual Scottish accent.
Yeah, the funniest thing when I first saw it, I was like, Scrooge sounds so weird. It's like, yeah, because this is the first time he's actually been voiced by a genuine fucking Scotsman.
Yeah. And the other person's Scottish accent is a comedy Scottish accent, and the explanation as to why, because they have a canon reason for it, is fucking amazing. And I don't want to spoil it, but watch it. Oh my god. One last TV show to mention, which I've watched the first few episodes of the second season of The Mandalorian, which continues to be great.
I need to watch that.
You do.
Yeah,
it's
me too.
really good. It does all of the stuff that kind of you would like from a Star Wars show that's not dealing with like there is Force stuff in it, but it's not the priority.
It's more. It's kind of like the watch books to the Discworld.
Actually, I kind of get that. It's a space western, is what it is.
And I mean, Vimes is literally Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
So he's Clint Eastwood and Columbo. He's Columbo Eastwood. Oh god, I hate that.
Yeah. No, I won't say much about it because obviously the season's not done yet.
I like the part where Baby Yoda.
Yes.
Yep, there we
go. Everyone got mad he ate an egg, and then the next episode basically said that wasn't actually a big deal, because it turns out that when something is half of a story, you should probably not jump to conclusions until you've seen the rest of the story, but, whatever. But yeah, it's really good. I don't know if it's going to be as good overall as the first season, but yeah.
Here's hoping.
Also really cool that they brought in a character that we saw heavily in the Clone Wars of Bo-Katan. It's not a spoiler because the marketing has had her all over it.
Yeah.
Who's a Mandalorian from the Mandalorians we're used to. So you get to see... So basically they finally acknowledge the fact that the Mandalorian isn't like every other Mandalorian we've ever encountered. Why are they like this? And they give you a reason. I won't say what it is, but basically what happens is the other Mandalorians take their helmets off, and he's like, "Wait, you're not supposed to take your helmet off," and they're just like, "Oh, you're one of them."
It's like, oh, you're one of them. The people who literally are like, "No, I'll use super glue as hair gel," and then you put the fucking helmet on like a dingus.
But yeah, no. So
sorry for the spoilers, by the way.
yeah, that's the reason.
Yeah,
it's
that's
super
the reason.
glue. That's the reason.
It's back to glue.
Yeah. Okay. Good work. Good work.
Thank you.
And also, I really liked it. It's a really small point, but like, the Mandalorian's obviously a very skilled fighter. That's like part of the thing because he's a Mandalorian, and that's part of their thing. But when he encounters the Mandalorians, he's not like absurdly more skilled than them. He's not like they are his peers, and I like that because in shows like this, normally the main character is the best at everything.
Super biggest dick, like awesome dude.
Yeah, and he
world.
kind of has been a lot of the time in the show as is, because he's not been encountering other Mandalorians. But when he encounters people who are his peers, then he's like them.
If you're the strongest fighter in the room, you're in the wrong room.
and yeah, there's just some. I don't know. There was just something about that. I kind of just expected him to be the super special boy the whole time, and the fact that they didn't do that, I was just like, that's really cool. I like that. But yeah, I think the new episode comes out relatively soon, so that'll be fun. Final thing is I played a game called Rekt.
R-E-K-T.
Yes. You didn't just play the game, though, did you?
Yes, I made a short review of it, which I put on my side channel.
Yeah.
Because I've been meaning to do...
Wib does
stuff.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's very good. He does some really cool,
Stuff.
40k stuff, and he does some cool Lego stuff, and some cool game stuff, and it's just fun, and you should go subscribe and comment on his things and being like, nice butt, bro, in brackets, not a weird thing. Or like comment on his beautiful cuticles.
You could also not do those things, but do subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe. Don't fucking talk to me.
Give me all the benefits, but never interact. No, I do appreciate feedback.
I appreciate feedback, provided it's about my hands.
I appreciate feedback, provided it's nice. No.
The human condition.
But no, it's a game that basically is like you do stunts in a car, and it's kind of like a Tony Hawk's game. So you gain
You're
points.
a micro machine.
But you're like a little car, and it looks like a micro machine, which is great because micro machines are great.
Every time I've gone out in the past week, I bought you a micro machine.
Yeah, because they do like blind bags now.
Yeah,
I'm very grateful.
You're not getting sick of them.
No, I love micro machines.
Okay, because I'm like, I could get you chocolate donuts, or I could get you something that will last. So then I just get you both.
I feel I should tell you no on one of those accounts, but I also cannot find it in myself to do so.
Right. That's why I do the shopping.
But yeah, it's a really fun little game. We were sent it by the publisher.
Full
disclosure and all that. And basically, because that happens, if you've got like above a certain, once your platform is so big on like YouTube, you just get sent codes from time to time,
or like some publishers will do a thing where they send you a thing going, hey, if you want a code, message us, and I'm never going to do that because that involves like human contact.
and normally we don't do anything with them because if we're not going to play them, I feel bad about just taking a code.
Yeah,
like, even though they've given it to us, but unless we're going to do something with it, I don't want to. But this looks so interesting. I was like, oh, I want to try this and see if we could do something with it. And then I tried it and I was like, yeah, no, totally. It's a really fun little game. I'm not going to speak too long about it because I obviously did a video about it, so go check that out.
Go watch it on Wib Does Stuff on YouTube. Does a lot of hand modelling. Very erotic. He has an OnlyFans where if you pay him a certain amount of money, he will hold an object of your choice. Like, I just want to see you hold. I want to see you hold 7 sultanas. He'll do that for you. He'll do it.
I won't. But if you want to do that,
hand slut 337 on OnlyFans.com /whip.
No.
Yeah.
.html.
.cmd / why did I revert to DOS? Oh my god, how old am I?
Anyway, Rekt is quite fun. It's quite short, but it's only like a $5. You'll get like a few hours of fun out of it. It's not a particularly deep game. There's only like 4 levels, but it's cool. I enjoyed it. Played a bunch of it.
Anyway, don't listen to him here. Watch the review.
Yeah. In the review, I say much more in-depth things, so go watch that.
I like cargo fast.
I do like cargo fast.
Yeah, there you go.
Car go upside down.
Car do go upside down.
Cargo space? No, cargo road.
Yeah, I know.
But
I can't even remember what that is or where it was from or anything.
It's a terrible
I remember
meme.
it being amazing.
Like, cargo space? No, car no do that. Cargo road.
Anyway, that's me done. So we should probably go on to the questions.
Good.
Before we go into the question,
we do have one question that came to our main email.
Yes.
From a lovely lady called Gwen.
Although, if you do want to send an email to us, what is the email address that people should send it to, Snipe?
Thank fuck.
I don't know. I'm tired. thedrummermat@gmail.com.
Com. You have to type it like that. Com.
It's like you're saying corn on the cob.
But yes, we did get a question in our regular email, so we'll answer that first.
Oh yeah, I'll read that out.
Aye.
Hey, it's Snipe and Wib. I just wanted to ask a question and not sure what the best platform would be. But Wib, we know you play a lot of old Rogue Trader. What's the oldest model in your collection?
The oldest model that I have, in terms of sculpt, is the laser burn models I painted recently.
And the other one is me.
I'm afraid it's not. I have a lot of things older your age.
Well, I mean, I was born in 1997, so...
But yeah, the laser burn models, because it's actually kind of tricky to know exactly when they came out, but they came out sometime between like 1980 and 1981.
Fucking hell.
The versions I have aren't that old, but the sculpts are...
I was going to say, I don't know if yours counts, because the sculpts are old, but your models aren't.
But
Presumably, anyway.
In terms of...
They could have found some old ones lying on a shelf somewhere and sent you those.
Oh, they're definitely not. But the ones I've got that are probably actually the oldest is I do have a handful of the very first like Rogue Trader models. So I've got like the original Space Marine, which came out sometime between like 1985 and 1986. It's kind of tricky to find out exactly when.
Also, I will say, Gwen, I love you. Because she signed off with, I'll keep drinking that chob mol and looking for spap in the Fogel section. That has made my fucking day.
But yeah, so that's probably the oldest ones I've got that are like 85, 86. A handful of like early like pre-Rogue Trader models that they made. And those are sort of the oldest ones, but I've got a ton from 87, 88. That's where I've got like a lot of stuff from. So yeah, basically I've got a load of stuff that's as old, it's a little bit younger than I am.
Just a little.
Just a little bit. And I also just want to say, I don't want to go into details, so I don't want to give away anything, but...
Don't want to be too personal.
Don't want to be too personal, but Gwen also mentioned something in their email, and I just want to say best of luck to you.
Yeah, big hugs.
But yes, you can go over and ask your questions
Go
if you
on,
must.
ask your lesser questions, Drummer Matt.
That's rude.
I was being deliberately inflammatory.
Because that doesn't reflect badly on Matt, that reflects badly on the questions.
Yeah.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
Okay, go on, Drummer Matt. Read your questions badly. I don't know. You know what? Just think of something that would be kind of like a playful dig, and then just pretend I said it.
Okay.
Yeah, pretend you did good.
Wow. Okay, as shady as I was being, you literally you eclipsed the sun. Wow.
Right. First, I want to thank a few people who emailed only Drummer Matt, like the old email address.
Would you fucking stop?
Not with questions. No one emailed with questions. I don't think.
Stop
or maybe one person
fucking
did.
emailing it.
Various people emailed that one just to say, "Hope you're not feeling lonely over here," which was really sweet.
Oh, bless.
Okay, I'm sorry I told you all to fuck off or whatever. But that's really cute, actually.
I think one person, someone did email a question to them as well, but I can't remember which one. But yeah, it was quite fun. Anyway, questions. Well, actually, first up, a recommendation, and this is useful for you, Snipe, but not useful for... As long as you act on it now and not when you edit this, and it's not useful for anyone else. But they're recommending the game that's currently on free this week on Epic Store, which is called Text Assist, and it's a bullet hell typing type game.
I'm certain I've got that, but I will check it the moment I'm done. Thank you very much.
So yeah,
and
but
Text Assist
the free deal expires tomorrow as of recording, so
Oh.
it's not very helpful for anyone listening.
Okay, so I hope everyone got that.
Yeah, but I want to tell you because I'd forget to tell you otherwise, so everyone else has to deal with that.
Okay, thank you.
Technician Sourwell,
Hello.
where are all the thick neck ones?
Oh, well, I mean, there is a couple of them that have come out, like the new I can never remember the name of them, but the new Destroyer, like the big chunky one. He's a bit thick.
You know, I want to get like a small Necron force and paint them all, like basically do a mild bit of You know what I love when I start talking like this? You look at me side-eyed, like, when is this going off the rails? Every fucking time. Without fail.
No, that was actually just me looking sincerely interested. I'm sorry, I just have a very...
I can't tell anymore.
I just have a very insincere face.
You actually don't. But yeah, and basically paint them red and give them kind of like a fiery kind of like, you know, like the molten crack kind of like bass. And give them like little devil horns and call them Hecrons.
So I was right to be dubious.
You said you were genuinely interested.
I was genuinely interested, but then the fact that you said it meant that I probably should be suspicious.
Okay, fine. What I want to do is I want to get a small force of Necrons, right? And I want to paint them kind of like quite nice pastel-y kind of colours. And basically, like, they'll be like the big chonky guy who's going to be like my HQ choice, and he's going to have a chef's hat, and they're going to be called my Macrons.
Okay.
They're going to be notoriously hard to make.
Okay. Okay, what are the other questions, Matthew?
Good. Okay, Brandon. Any music recommendations, specifically songs or music that motivate you while you're exercising? That's for them. It's jogging. And then also songs and music that specifically help you recover from the fact that you're in pain and winded from jogging.
I would say for jogging, anything that's like 140 BPM or higher. You can, if you use Spotify, they literally have running playlists with all sorts of genres in there. That's a great way to discover kind of like if you just find something that matches your natural pace or like a pace you'd like to keep. There's like a playlist for it. You know, if it's not a proper Spotify one, then it'll probably be like a fan-made one, which, you know, still give you some ideas, like get you listening to some new music and keep up the same kind of beat. And that's what I do, and it's quite helpful. Drummer Matt, what about you?
I typically, depends. If I'm going on a long run, I'll typically listen to a podcast because I just, as much as I love the feeling when I'm getting back from running, I just kind of get a bit bored while doing it if I do too long. So
I can't listen to podcasts because I do need the beat.
Yeah, I started it for the first quite a while. I did need that, but I sort of after I started doing quite a bit longer runs, I was like, okay, I'm just need to do something else. So for longer runs, I just listen to podcasts. For shorter ones, or if I'm trying to get a good time on something, I'll pick usually ska punk type stuff because that's just the beat works well for me from running. But I just pick one and then do the radio playlist suggested thing off Spotify because I do that often enough that it's usually songs I know, so it's like familiar. But just occasionally there'll be a new one in there, or they'll do something a bit different. And it's as much as I don't want to just bow to our algorithm overlords. That kind of just... I mean, it's how I've found myself listening to music quite a lot recently, even aside from exercise music in general. Rather than like, do I decide what album to listen to? It's like, I vaguely feel in the mood for this song. Let's just let the algorithm decide for me. Which is probably really bad, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I can say... We do live in a nightmare hellscape, but at least you're listening to new things.
I can tell you what I like, because it's been a long time since I went to the gym for various reasons.
Because the last time you went was pre-pandemic with me before I started like this fitness course I'm on where I had to change gyms and didn't have a... have a deal on so you could come too.
Yeah. But this is completely unhelpful, but the last band I remember listening to a bunch of stuff whilst I was at the gym was the Diablo Swing Orchestra.
Oh my fucking god! Yeah, if you want to die, it's like I literally I have my playlist for like running is called "Gotta Go Fast," and my playlist for the gym is Muscle Spirit.
Yeah.
Because it's Zangief from Street Fighter reference.
Although I have, unrelated to exercise, but I have been listening to a shitload of Jeff Rosenstock recently.
I know. He is also a lovely dude. Very lovely dude.
Yeah. 1000% can recommend Jeff Rosenstock's stuff, whether it's him on and his current like stuff that he does now, which they usually play under Death Rosenstock, which is like the name of him with his full band.
I remember when he was in the Arrogant Sons of Bitches.
Yeah, the Arrogant Sons of Bitches are fantastic, although they don't have their good album on Spotify. They've only got like their early demo stuff that's all compiled into one album on Spotify that's not recorded very well, but you can find it on YouTube, which is 3 Cheers for Disappointment, I think it's called, which is fucking amazing. Yeah. And then he was in Bond Music Industry, which started
I
off.
didn't know he was in Bomb the Music Industry.
Well, he started
Oh
off.
wait, no, I did.
'Cause we've seen
I'm
him.
thinking of Bandits of the Acoustic Revolution.
Yeah,
I heard the B word, and
yeah.
because I'm like sleepy and I've been up for a fucking long time, I'm like, I know music band
That begins with B.
that begins with B.
It was either that or the Bangles, you know.
It literally was. Yeah.
But yeah, it was in the Bomb music industry for a long time. It started off as a solo project, then became a full band, and basically every piece of music that like Jeff has done and been involved with is amazing. And rapidly becoming, I think the only musical artist I like more is Streetlight Manifesto, and that should tell you a lot. For long-time viewers who will know my obsession.
Yep.
Anyway,
I was saying, I put some of the Doom 2016 soundtrack,
Danger.
into not only my Muscle Spirit playlist, but my Gotta Go Fast playlist. I nearly fucking died. But I felt like I was gonna just run up to a car and fucking spear jump through the fucking windshield and out the back. It's like, if you really want to push yourself, listen to the Doom soundtrack, but also don't, because I have trouble where I find it hard to create, like, to run in step with certain, like, timing. Like, so that ends up making me more aware of my body, which means it hurts more.
Yeah.
But yeah, and as for, like, chilling out music from running, I just tend to listen to, like the same kind of, like, BPM, just a bit more chill. I know that's really fucking helpful. But because I walk in step, because I like, 5-minute warm up, 5-minute warm down. And with my 5-minute warm down,
you're a better person than me.
I honestly, if I didn't do warm up and warm downs, I'd fucking tear my calves.
Yeah.
Because I literally had to go to like a chiropodist and be like, hey, my legs are shit and hurt all the fucking time. And she was like, okay, yeah, it's because your legs are wanky. Have these fucking insoles that will stop that from happening. And then suddenly I'm like, wow, I can walk and run and it doesn't fucking hurt now. That's good.
Yeah. You see, I was talking about this earlier to you, like, when it comes to, like, music to relax to. Like, I remember when I was a teenager, and I used to fall asleep listening to System of a Down. So, like, basically, what I consider relaxing music is probably not going to necessarily match, because my music tastes have, let's just say, they've only gotten broader since then.
My like, I remember I was the Twin Snakes came out, which is the GameCube remake of Metal Gear Solid 1 that nobody fucking asked for. And they redid a lot of the music. And I remember listening to Mantis's Hymn, which even for the PlayStation 1, like Metal Gear Solid 1 version, is a beautiful piece of music. And it is very spooky. And I remember listening to the Twin Snakes version of that and just being really relaxed and just even though it's like super fucking spooky, and I think it has like sampled screaming in it, and I was just like, yeah, that's nice.
It reminds you of a game you really like.
That's the thing. I think it like also like there was the music from not really big spoilers, but in MGS4 when you go back to Shadow Moses, I remember lying under the tank facing the I can't remember what it is, the hangar, and just sniping all the little like orb things, scarabs, and listening to like the intro and Snake breathing, and it was just the most relaxing fucking
You got
thing.
full on ASMR by the sound of it.
David Hayter ASMR'd me, not clickbait. David Hayter ASMR'd me under a tank in the fucking Fox Archipelago. Not clickbait. Gone sexual? No, that's too far. But yeah, I would say I just listen to like songs that maybe have like they drop like 20 BPM. So instead of 140, like 120 or maybe even 100, and just keep in step for my warm down. Again, I can't really recommend any specific like musicians. I mean, I kind of listen to like industrial metal and like bits of EDM work well. Like there's even some pop that has some really heavy bass drum that you can just really get into. So yeah, I'm sorry I can't be more helpful. And I'm sorry Wib was completely unhelpful with like, hey, yeah, listen to Dragon Force.
I would never ever recommend anyone listen to Dragon Force
but you know
for
how
any
they're
reason.
like
They're a little bit hilarious.
Maximum the Hormone is not a good. They're not a good band to listen to because they blast drum.
I did used to listen to them quite often while at the gym. I won't lie.
Yeah, but
for me, it's like having a good beat. The beat doesn't actually have to be in time with my running because I don't know if it's
Mine does.
similar
Mine
to
does, I
like
don't know
drumming
why.
stuff because I can set my limbs going and doing a thing, and then my brain can wander onto something else.
I'm just imagining that little ship's animation of the weird 3D model like flapping down the street. That's drum him out on a run.
I mean, that's just him in general. We've
We've
seen him drum for like a decade.
Do you remember when we were at the fucking bus stop like a year ago before the pandemic, and I think we were going to Warhammer World, and he was like, hey, do you want to see this thing that's actually really weird? And we were like, okay. And he started like windmilling his arms really fucking violently to the point where like there was someone approaching and she was like, you could see her slow down her walk. She didn't want to get too close to him. And then he was like, look, now I can touch my toes or whatever. And we're like, very good.
This story starts like it's sounding like one of those totally true stories, but this one is actually true.
It is 100% legitimate. And we were like, oh, okay. I think you were just really excited and wanted to show us that you can swing your arms around. And we were like, oh, okay.
You know what? Fair. Kids are allowed to do that. And as an adult...
I thought you were like Drummer Matt's child. Kids are allowed to do that, you know, including 30-year-old kids. But yes, we hope that weird hallucinogenic like nightmare that we just spewed out helped in any way.
It probably wasn't helpful, but we hope it was entertaining.
And also, good on you for running. Keep it up. You're doing terrific.
Yeah. All right. Next up, this is actually related. Well, partially related. So David wrote in with a question for each of us.
Hello,
Wib's
David.
question is related to the last one. So, Wib, what are your favourite crust punk bands?
Leftover crack.
Yeah, in all honesty, I'm not into that much kind of crust punk stuff.
I hate
tend
the
to
name
like...
of the genre because it's like it describes the people playing it too well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
It's like they move when they move. It sounds like people walking on fucking like polystyrene.
Yeah, in all honesty, the stuff that I'm mostly into is like the entry level crust punk stuff, which is like Leftover Crack and stuff like the things that's connected to that, like Choking Victim and Star Fucking Hipsters.
I will say Star Fucking Hipsters has one of the best band names I've ever heard.
Yeah.
It's so good.
I mean, I don't know if like No Cash count under that because they're very heavily influenced by like Leftover
Days and
Crack.
Days are crusty.
Days and Days are incredibly
How did
crust-punk.
I forget about Days and Days? No, Days and Days are fucking great. I love them.
Although I would not
Days-
recommend listening to them in the car because it's all like quite tinny guitars and things. You just can't really hear any of it, and it just sounds it sounds terrible.
I actually get that.
For
honest.
people who want to like YouTube search, how do you spell Days and Days?
It's days as in days of the week, then an N, and then days as in being dazed.
So DaysNDaze.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like how they're like, hey, how do we fucking ruin people googling?
It means
us?
their acronym is D&D,
That's
Yeah,
fucking
that's true.
legit.
which, from what I understand,
And
they...
also, isn't like one of the singers is just like my brother's like best friend? Like he just looks exactly.
he
like
looks
my brother's...
exactly like him. Yes.
Yeah.
They're like they're like what if it's like either what if a folk band played crust punk or what if a crust punk band played folk. I'm not sure which way
I
around.
can't remember which. I don't know. Yeah, I can't work out which way around. But
Basically, it's like crust punk with a washboard.
Oh yeah.
Which-
Throw in a banjo and I'm there.
Yeah, they occasionally do have banjo in there.
Oh, I don't like cross punk though.
Yeah.
Take out the cross punk, I'm there.
They also have a trumpet as well.
Oh, take out the trumpet, I'm there. Fucking hate Scar.
But yeah, no. Honestly, I am not that super well listened in crust punk as the full oeuvre. But those are what I have listened to.
in which case, part B of the question, which is, what is your opinion on the fall of Ephrafa? Ephrafa? I don't know how you pronounce that. I don't know if you know who they are then.
I don't.
Hydoxine.
No.
I mean,
it's
like
also
them
should be
already
noted
because, as mentioned by David, he mentioned that specifically because Watership Down's come up a few times, and FFR is like one of the places in Watership Down.
it should be
Fall of
noted that
FFR is.
Is it in Wales?
I imagine
sounds very
it's a
Welsh.
crust band, but none of us seem to know them. So
well, I guess we'll find out, won't we?
no opinion.
But it should be noted that because I am over 30,
And you don't care.
and I don't care, I have basically got to this point where I keep just forgetting to look up new music. So like, I realise I'll sit there and I'll go, wait, I haven't listened to anything that wasn't made 10 years ago in like a year.
If it helps, I remember tuning into like
Kerrang?
it wasn't Kerrang, it was the other one. It wasn't Scuzz.
MTV2?
No. It wasn't Kerrang, but
It wasn't P-Rock, God rest its soul.
Oh, R.I.P. Rock. But yeah, no, it was. Let's just say, for sake of argument, it was Scuzz, and it was just playing shit that we were listening to as fucking teenagers.
I think the last time I looked at Kerrang, it was playing No One Knows by Queens of the Stone Age.
Yeah, right. It's just old. It's like, okay, so is this like the dad music channels now?
Now it is, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird.
But yeah, so like I it's one of the things that I do try and do. It's why I've been listening to so much like of Jeff Rosenstock stuff, because it's all relatively recent. Like the stuff under his own name. Like he had an album that came out earlier this year called No Dream that is really good. I can recommend that. It's all on YouTube as well.
Okay. So apparently this is sponsored by Jeff Rosenstock.
Apparently. It's
Actually,
actually the video for it is actually really cool because it's like the whole album. They just released
Is that
the
the
whole
one
album.
where you showed it to me and you were like, okay, this is so batshit insane. It
No,
looks like
no,
you
it's-
edited it.
No, it's not that. No,
Because he literally said that to me and I was like, oh shit, okay, I'll have a look at that.
No, there was a live performance that he edited, and the bassist wasn't able to be there because the world is on fire. So he was playing remotely, and he was superimposed into it on a green screen, and they had a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, it's like making him small and popping on like the guitarist's shoulder, or like making it so there was like 4 of him.
Yeah. No. The album video is someone painting the album art for the full run of the.
Oh, that's so cool.
thing.
That's really awesome.
Which is, I just thought that was really neat.
It's like kind of sped up art is so chill.
It's not sped up; it's real time.
That's fucking nuts.
It's not the actual artwork; it's a recreation of it, and it's it's not perfect, but it's just
just like that kind of thing.
Yeah, the fact they're able to do it at the right amount of time is very impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah.
So check out that band that they've.
Yeah, I'll check them out. Mm-hmm.
Snipe, your question. Well, first off, a statement. It's not a question. Anyway,
Okay.
they'd love to see some more pics of your nids because they love the colour scheme.
Well, if you subscribe to my OnlyFans. No, nids. Okay. Thank you very much. I'm glad you like my little gribblies. I do need to like get back onto painting them. I've just I have like a weird cyclical kind of creative like loop where like my 12 p.m. is painting Warhammer, and then I move to 3 p.m. and it's drawing, and it kind of just keeps. I just go round. I go through phases in a cycle.
I think what you're trying to say there is that you will paint a shitload of Warhammer in like a week and then not do any in a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. But yeah, I do mean to kind of take photos of them because like it is fun. Like everyone's been really nice and said that they haven't seen a paint scheme like that, and I'm like, yeah. Because like I was looking at all the other ones, I was like, ooh, what High Fleet should I paint this? And I was like, these are all really like these are cool, but I'm not feeling any. And then I was like, hot pink. That fucking works. So yeah,
It is the hottest of pinks.
the hottest of pink. But yes, thank you. I will get back on that, and I do appreciate you being nice and expressing interest.
And your question is recommendation for a fun horror movie, because they're not so much into the boobs, but they like the sort of fun side of things. So yeah, a fun
Evil Dead
horror movie.
2.
Evil Dead 2 is a good one. Army of Darkness I think is a bit too Three Stooges.
Not really a horror film.
Not really a horror film. Ooh.
Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the Woods is a good one. Trying to think. Freddy vs. Jason isn't as funny as you'd think.
No.
And Jason X is only good for that one part at the end on the holodeck. Yes, there's a fucking holodeck in a Jason movie.
What about, like, Nightmare on Elm Street 3?
Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is fun. It has a couple of trigger warnings there, I'd say, or maybe one.
Yeah, there is. I guess it is a bit old. So,
yeah, it's old. Let me think. I'm trying to think.
Ouija Shark.
Ouija Shark. That's a good one. Definitely recommend Ouija Shark. But that's not horror. That's just it's just silly and it's.
Thank
fun.
you to the director who apparently heard our podcast on it.
Yeah,
it was a good sport about it.
Yeah, they're very nice about it. Funny horror movies. Oh, you see, you've asked me, and now I'm like, fuck, I'm on the spot. What the hell? I've watched so
there's
many.
There is some like there's some iffy things in it, but Reanimator is
funny.
I
was gonna yeah, that has a lot of funny elements. But there are a couple of quite iffy things.
Yeah, it depends on like what kind of thing you're after, because there's a few things that like things to do with like sexual assault and things that
aren't fun.
Oh,
yeah,
that's not so fun.
But in that way that horror films of a certain era and just movies of a certain era
just
are
have
just
to
like
just
that.
cram that in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like how Ghostbusters has a remarkable amount of it.
Have a if you think of any more, put them on your Twitter.
Yeah, absolutely. I will. That's a good question. Good. I'm so sorry I was so vastly underprepared for it.
That's all right. I'm sure you're forgiven.
Death Becomes Her is an old movie that it's not very horror. There are horror elements.
Yeah.
But it is very fun and very enjoyable. I really like Death Becomes Her. Apparently it's very popular with the gays. And I can see why. Because it's fucking fabulous. But yeah, that's kind of a campy, horror-themed like movie. I do like that. I wouldn't say Beetlejuice because I can't watch that movie anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say why.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's
Okay.
enough.
Okay.
Okie dokie.
Ginger snaps. That's really stupid, but not. I don't think it means to be. So, but yeah. Anyway, carry on.
Okay, my question was a recommendation for a wholesome game to play. Because they've been playing some things that are not so wholesome recently, so they just wanted a bit of a refresher. I would go Slime Rancher if you haven't done it. That's a very wholesome
Slime
game.
Rancher is super chill. Everything is super cute. I would also recommend Stardew Valley, which is incredibly... Yeah. It's so much more in depth than you'd ever think.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous.
And all the characters are beautifully written. They're all incredibly good and very, very fleshed out, very interesting, very, very three-dimensional characters. And it's just nice. And you can have a cat or a dog. And you can name your chickens Monster Mash.
You can.
It's great.
No one will stop you.
No.
Shit, I meant to mention, I played fucking No Man's Sky on stream and found out that they do allow you to name your planet Dongweed 420. And you can't change it once you've named it that.
Good.
So there is a planet in the world. Because it was showing me all these planets.
In the world.
A planet in the world.
The in-game universe.
This is the biggest galaxy in the world.
Like the in-game universe, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
And yeah, I was seeing all these planets that were named because it like has an auto-generated one, and I was like, I don't believe these are real like human ones because they're not named Dongweed 420, and so people just decided that was the name of the planet I was on.
So you're like, lol, I'll name it that. Okay,
I'll name it that, and then it was like, okay, I'll name it something serious now, and then it's like, no, once you've named it, that's its name, and I'm like, well, no. That's my planet then.
Oh no.
That's my planet.
Webcomic name, reaction image. Oh no.
Okie dokie. Moving on. So next up, Melange.
Ooh.
Melange? Melange.
Melange.
Spice melange.
That's fine.
Melange.
Okay. A Christmas recommendation.
Oh.
Die Hard.
Because it's getting
they're
to
giving
that
us
time of
one,
year
okay.
somehow nearly. Although let's not get into that because it might not happen. A animated show or film, I think, called Carl Bertil Johnson's Julafton. I'm pronouncing all of those things wrong.
You may have to write that down for us, mate.
It is Swedish.
Okay.
So pronounce it with Swedish words.
Oh, that's going to make it really easy to find. Thank
I'll
you.
just send it to Alpha Booster and he'll be like, what?
So it is a traditionally animated film, and it's aired every Christmas Eve. It's very leftist in capital letters.
Okay.
Ooh.
So I was like, okay, I'm listening. Let's look this up. So the vague plot of it is... The gist of it is that there's a kid who's working in a... This is what I remember from reading the top summary on Wikipedia, so I might be not entirely right, but the gist of it is that there's a kid who works at the postal service, and he notices all these presents are going to rich people, and he's a fan of Robin Hood, so instead of delivering the presents to rich people, he gives them to poor people instead.
Fuck yeah. I'm loving it.
Which
That's
sounds great.
Yeah.
So that
Living
sounds like a
for
very
it.
wholesome Christmas film. There is I think I read there's a dub version, but I assume you can get it in original language and subbed.
Oh, I know
Probably.
how to speak Swedish. Very,
Yeah.
very, very
But yeah,
badly.
it's shown every Christmas Eve in Sweden and Norway, apparently.
Oh, that's
Interesting.
cute.
But I'd never heard of it.
It
because-
is fascinating to see those things, like, because, you know, there's things that are, like, so...
Integral to a particular culture.
Like there's things that are, like, so... Something that's on TV around Christmas that we always remember.
Was it you guys always have, like, It's a Wonderful Life here or something? Or is that an American thing?
That's an American thing. Although my
Yeah.
dad does fucking love It's a Wonderful Life.
Your dad likes anything wholesome.
Yeah.
Or shit, like the Emoji Movie.
My dad did unironically say that Battleship was a good movie, and I don't think I
That
did.
was
but
that was a hard thing to walk
that
away
was
from.
a hard conversation to not make into a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I get, you know, I'm kicking him under the table. I'm like, wow, look at the time. We need to leave. And he's like, Father, you have betrayed me. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Bye. Thank you, Mr. Wibb.
It could be worse. It could be like when my mum talks politics. Oh, Jesus.
I was going to say, it's like, which is worse in this situation?
Oh, do you even need to fucking ask? It's definitely the Battleship. No, I'm joking. Holy shit, no. I can't even fucking finish that joke.
Okay, last two very quickly because I've just noticed how long we've been going for.
Mm-hmm.
Henry, quick question. Will the mailbag ever return?
Yes.
Yes.
Post-pandemic.
Probably post-pandemic.
Because
is what,
right
yeah.
now it's like we, in good conscience, can't basically force the mail service to, like, we don't want to give them more work during a pandemic. It just seems really not cool. As much as we'd love to, you know, get like letters and stuff from everybody, it doesn't feel ethical to do it right now.
Plus, everyone's, like, having to deal with their own thing, and we don't want them wasting their, you know, money on shit for us when they should be looking after themselves at this time. Like, you know.
In these unprecedented times, as much as a prepared statement as that sounds like, no, that's basically. But it will return in Moonraker.
Excellent. Okay, last up, Mikkel.
Hello.
What is the best worst movie?
Oh god, that is.
I can't think of anything other than Ouija Shark at the moment.
The thing is, it's not
I
even
think
the
they, I
worst
think,
movie.
I think they might explicitly have said don't include that one, but I can't. They mentioned something about Ouija Shark, but I didn't write that down.
I mean, like, one of the...
I wouldn't say Ouija Shark is the worst movie I've ever seen.
Because I feel that the point about a good bad movie is always that it needs to be done with some degree of sincerity.
Yeah, you need that earnest kind of silliness. Where,
Yeah.
like Birdemic is a classic.
Yeah, I would say one of my, I think probably my favourite, because I'm the kaiju guy, is Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster, because it's a movie that tries to simultaneously be more adult and appeal to children.
Is that the one where the monster at the end shits itself constantly? Or is that Polgasari or Yongari?
You're thinking of Yongari,
I'm thinking
where,
of Yongari.
where the monster dies, and when it dies, it
just
shits itself.
all over the place.
Yeah. Shits blood, more specifically.
Oh,
yeah,
great.
good. That makes it better.
Oh, that's really Thanks.
Yongari,
I know I brought it up.
Yeah,
but fuck no.
Yongari is the South Korean kaiju movie.
That may or may not have been made under duress.
No,
Under
that's
kidnapping.
No. That's South Korean.
Oh,
the
yes.
North Korean one is Pulgasari. The guy the people who made it, a lot of them may have been kidnapped.
That's fine.
And it's the most unself-aware propaganda film ever made. But yeah, no, I think Godzilla vs. the Smog Monster is probably one of my favourite bad movies because it is just fucking nonsense from start to finish, and it's a lot of fun. and it's a lot of fun done with gusto. So, you know, I really enjoy that. That would be my vote. It's probably not. It's not the best one because I don't like stuff like your Snakes on a Plane, your Sharknado, that stuff. Because
they're
it's
like deliberately trying to be silly, and it's like, nah, it just doesn't appeal to me.
They're deliberately trying to manufacture a so bad it's good movie as opposed to just being a so bad.
The thing is,
it's
it's so bad because it basically just the whole movie is sitting there going, "I think you're a fucking stupid moron. Give me your money."
There is a cynicism to those
and
movies
I don't
that
like
I don't
it
like.
because Oh god, I mean, you know all the shitty movies I like. What's the worst one that I like the most? Okay, be very fucking careful.
I mean, The Shadow's up there.
I mean, The Shadow is not a great movie, and I do adore it. So,
I'd say the Street Fighter movie.
Okay, yeah, Street Fighter movie is an amazing fucking movie. Okay,
But I also think it's...
and that's with Jean-Claude Van Damme, who's like, "I love America,"
But it's also
because he's
supposed-
Danish.
Wait, what?
Because he's Danish, and he speaks French.
Okay,
And
yeah,
that was my French accent.
He's not Danish.
Oh, I'm sure he's Danish. It starts with a D. Oh, he's Delger. He's from
Yeah,
Belgium.
Isn't he like Belgian or something?
He's the Muscles from Brussels, which is in Belgium.
Okay.
So not Denmark.
Okay, I was educated about Europe's geography in the UK, which is why I don't know where the fuck anything is.
Yeah,
over here.
our schools
fair.
teach geography fucking appallingly.
No, they
It's
just
true.
don't teach you
Yes.
fucking geography. They're like, this is a rock. It's indigenous or fucking, I don't know. Yeah, see, I don't even know rocks. That's how fucked my
We're trying to
education
say
was.
igneous.
Igneous.
No, indigenous rocks.
Indigenous rocks.
See, you do get like
The
invasive
British do not.
species.
The British do not have a good record with indigenous things. Let's just move on.
No, exactly.
But
yeah, no, definitely Street Fighter the movie.
the problem is
So fucking perfect.
the Street
in
Fighter
every
movie
way.
is supposed to be an action comedy, and it just is an action comedy.
But the thing is,
When it's funny, it's not funny because they were trying to make something good and failed. It's because they were telling a joke, and the joke was funny. So I actually think that doesn't count.
you think it doesn't count?
No, 'cause I think
also
it-
Raul Julia literally gnawing the scenery is
Yeah.
the most perfect fucking thing.
Because I think it's supposed
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
It's supposed to be over the top and silly, and it just is.
Okay.
So I think that is a movie that 100% succeeds at trying to be what it is.
Okay,
Unless,
so
of course, you want to tell me like that the director earnestly wanted to make a drama, in which case I recount my opinion.
No, I'm pretty sure that was deliberate. They were like, we're making a video game movie. We can't take this seriously.
Yeah.
And that's why
Yeah.
it's so fucking perfect. Oh, God, yeah, no. The Shadow is probably the only one I can really think of, because that is not a good movie, but I don't fucking care, and I love it. It's
Fair enough, fair
beautiful.
enough. How do you? What's your pick, Matt?
Oh, I've been trying to think what
He's
you've been
gonna be
talking
like,
about.
Star Wars.
I quite
mean-
enjoyed what was the one with the tickle monster? That was good.
Oh,
fucking
it was
hell.
just called The Tickle Monster, and it was a secret fetish movie that you, me, like Wib and Ash and Sarah got drunk and watched one night, and it was just like, it was some random guy who'd gotten like someone who he was like sexually involved with to stand around and get tickled until they spat out fake blood, and then it zoomed in on the feet for like 10 minutes.
Yeah, that one was a pretty good one.
That
But I
was
think
good.
probably more from the context of, when you're watching these things with friends, they're just always better because you can laugh
Yeah.
along together. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's a quite good one. By which I mean it's terrible.
Yeah. Wiblet.
I already said mine's Godzilla versus the Smog Monster.
I know, but I'm tired. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
Okay, man. Well, we are finishing now. So just to finish off, Mikhail, I had a quick recommendation.
Okay.
Gendy Tartakovsky's Primal. It is a series about a caveman making friends with a dinosaur.
X, that's the guy that did like Samurai Jack and the original Clone Wars show and Dexter's Laboratory, I think.
I want to be friends with a dinosaur.
But yeah, I didn't look into it more than that because I was like, well, making friends with a dinosaur sounds great. I don't need to know anymore.
You know what's really fun? I literally there's a subreddit that isn't shit that's called Crowbro. And it's literally just, and this is one of the things that actually gives me hope for humanity, because it's just like people taking photos of crows going, isn't this pretty? I fed them some chips and hopefully they'll be my friend. And it's just people looking at crows going, I want to be that bird's friend. And then and then it's like there'll be the occasional person who's befriended a crow, and everyone's like, "Tell us how,
Tell us your secrets.
tell us your friend secrets." And like
Amazing.
everyone, and it's like, yeah, I love that part of human nature where we see an animal and go, "Friend," regardless of how murderous it is. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, a bear, friend.
Like,
Especially how bears have learned to wave at people and then catch food in their mouths. I saw there was a gif of someone, like, a bear waving, like, fucking feed me, like, basically like, hi, I know you have food in your fucking car.
I love the
And it's
fact
just
that
sat there.
you are physically waving despite the fact no one can see you.
I'm physically waving. So he's like, hi, and then this person like frisbees like a slice of bread, and the bear just puts its hand down and goes, om. It doesn't even really move to put it in its mouth. It's like, om. And I'm like, I want to pet the fluffle.
I mean,
I
look
want
at it
to
this
be
way.
friends with a bear.
If you could-
I mean, like not like Longfang, but like an actual grizzly bear.
I maintain this thing. I actually put it on Twitter the other day that people talk about like people being bastards, like being selfish is like part of human nature, and I disagree with that because I think that.
Well, I mean, the reason we've lasted this long is because we're so social.
Yeah, but I think that there are a few bits of like actual hard-coded human nature. Most of it is just
Can
learned
I
behavior.
eat it? Can I fuck it? Can I pet it?
Yeah, like, but a bit, one of the few things of, like, real honest-to-God human nature, I think, is when seeing an animal, no matter how dangerous, is going, can I be friends with that? Because you sit there and you go, look, if someone told you that you could make friends with a shark and pet it, you'd fucking do it.
It's like that lady,
totally.
that lady diver who made friends with an eel.
Yeah.
And like she literally was like, I like this eel and I want to be friends with it. So she visited it every fucking day for like a year and a half. And then then like towards the end of like that second, like that half a year, the eel just came out and was like, hi, we're friends now. And it's like, I want to be friends with an eel. That's so cool. I want to be friends with an eel. Like, this is the thing. It's like, it's so good. I want to be friends with all the animals.
It would be nice.
And also,
It would be nice.
like, literally 99% of the people who I've ever heard of, like, well, human nature is just being a shit, is basically saying that socialism won't work because everyone's inherently horrible. And it's like, well, A, that's not true. And B, fuck off.
Are you just saying that as an excuse to be a dick?
Yeah, generally
yeah,
speaking.
and like all that was is like B. Okay, so but we've taken all these other great steps to overcome our shortcomings as a species. Why can't we stop being dicks?
Even if being a bastard is something integral to human nature, we're better than that, so we can just not.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have like
just shitting
well-
wherever you need a shit is probably integral to human nature, but we've learned to get over that and go to the toilet most of the time.
yeah.
Most of the time.
I like it how John has to hastily add most of the time, seeing as he's probably just shat in the corner.
Well, we are talking
You know.
about people that are like, it's human nature to be selfish, so you can't guarantee they aren't going to shit
it's
over
human
themselves.
nature to be selfish, screams Karen as she takes a shit on the fucking self-service
Did
counter
you see
at
that someone
IKEA.
called Elon Musk Space Karen and it's the best
Yes,
thing ever?
because he's a fucking space Karen and I love
Space
it.
Karen, he just
Oh,
is. That's great.
Matt, have you seen that fucking video where someone has like
Karen metal.
has made has like written a metal song to go alongside like some
Karen rant.
a Karen rant.
Oh,
We have
amazing.
to send it to you. It's so
It's
fucking
the
funny.
best. It's the best.
Perfect.
But we should end the
I'm just
podcast.
I'm going to wrap up by just reminding everyone that Mikhail was the person who sent the Corbots.
Yes, thank
Right,
you.
back from the start. Just to link it back to the start.
Yeah, perfect
Yes.
loop, seamless.
Yep.
Seamless.
Wonderful.
Perfect. Job's good. And
Absolutely fantastic.
that is the end of the questions.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much for the questions, and please send your questions for the next podcast to thedrummermat@gmail.com, and also tell me like which character in Trapdoor you would have sex with.
And also, which animal that is phenomenally dangerous you would make friends with?
Yeah,
Would
you
you
wanna-
like to be buddies with a Portuguese man of war? Or maybe share a drink with a Black Widow? Let us know.
I wouldn't recommend it because that amount of alcohol would probably kill a black.
They'd have a
widow.
small drink. A tiny little...
And a little straw.
Yeah, tiny little...
Okay, that's I want to be.
Because they have to
friends
drink through a
with them.
straw because, you know,
They suck.
the spider do suck.
They get the suck. They like Capri Suns, but only very
When
tiny
I
ones.
was reading the Wikipedia entries about spiders, I did end up, because they're closely related to like crabs and stuff.
Yeah.
I was looking up crabs, and I ended up learning about spiders as well.
Spiders
and,
are very cool.
And they're
There
like
are
innards.
spider crabs, right?
Yeah. Their innards are like too small to actually take in solid things, which is why they have to like
Liquefy
things to eat them.
They're basically on like protein shakes. They're like galaxy braining, living in the muscle bro future.
Yeah, I did literally spend like 2 hours just looking up various things about like spiders and crabs and
I'm not even remotely surprised. I'm just like, yeah, that's something you do. You just spend an entire weekend looking up spider facts.
and it was very interesting. And I recommend everyone else do it, especially look up horseshoe crabs, because horseshoe crabs
creep me
fucking
out.
rock.
It's spooky. I will give everyone look up the maned wolf, because they look like a scary drawing of a dog, and I love that. They're great. Also, hyenas are babies, and I would love to be friends with them.
I feel like we should probably not just be listing animals that people should look up, and we should end the podcast.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go look at pictures of hyenas, so that's
Okay.
cool. If anyone can recommend me a good hourly hyena bot, I need that for Twitter, because I literally can't find one. I mean, I've looked
You haven't
Once.
looked, but you can't find them.
I have looked for 5 minutes, and then I was like, oh, fuck this. So yeah.
I guess yeah.
But yeah, thank you very much for listening, and don't forget to send us the animals you'd like to be friends with. And also a question, so we'll read it out on air and stuff. But yeah. Bye bye everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.